But we also need the other one. That one.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, isn't it? Oh, I found someone Ivor who did that for me. It's very, very good. It's very nice. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a quite a unique show, actually. This is a very unique show. We're streaming live on the Canon podcast for the first time. This is a show that Rohan and I have done. If you haven't seen us before, I'm Alex. I'm on the Canon podcast. I'm the guy who got cooked today. We'll talk about that. And Rohan and I have been doing the show on TDK Live, which has been this kind of extension of the different knock. We're pulling it all together. It's got a little bit too confusing. I can't have too much time away from Rohan. It's no fun. So we're pulling it all together, and we're having absolutely everything under. Obviously, I will have different knock as my main channel, and that's me and my stuff. But on here, you're going to see George, you're going to see me, you're going to see Rohan. It's all going to be under one beautiful, gorgeous umbrella. But this week, we're streaming on both channels just so people get a chance to know where we're going. So next week, sorry to do some parish announcements. I know it's a bit boring, it's a bit complicated. It's not complicated at all. We're just changing channel. Rohan and I will be on this show every Thursday night from 7 p.m. And Rohan, it's a fun show.
It is very fun. I feel like I don't know if I should rein it in a bit or.
Okay, so here's the thing. On the Canon, we want to get content for everyone. So we've got like instant reactions. We've got like serious deep dives on players. We want to do stuff on like main podcasts and stuff where we talk stuff seriously. This hopefully is like a fun space where we can chat, and we're going to do analysis, of course. We're going to talk about Arsenal, obviously, but like it's a way more relaxed, way more chill, way more like we're going to joke around. I'm going to tell you about some stupid situation that happened with me today. Like it's more personal. So if that's not your thing, genuinely fine. You don't need to comment it. I've had enough horrible comments today, guys. You don't need to comment it. Just leave. There's a YouTube comment. I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling vulnerable.
I swear, I've not watched the video, but I just had it on, and I do this thing where I like to just look at the comments. So I think it was uploaded and it was out for like 30 minutes, and I checked like 120 comments.
Yeah,
oh my god!
Thanks everyone. We'll come to that. Thanks. Oh my goodness me. Igbega Owolua. I'm so sorry. That's poor from me. Try that. Igbegolua. Ogudanare Phillips.
Igbegolua.
If I've got even close, it's me. I'm so
sorry.
I'm
actually really sorry. Yeah. It's actually a really good name.
Also left a really nice comment there as well, so I feel really bad. Rohan is remaining. Of course, Rohan is remaining clutch artist. Fodder on football. It's been emotional. This is guy does our thumbnails, but we're transitioning to the Canon podcast. I'll let you know later. End of an era. It's not the end of an era. We're just moving. Rohan, how are you?
I'm great. I'm actually great. I've had a very, very good week.
That's nice. You've got a new microphone as well, haven't you?
I know. I decided to invest in a new microphone and dip into my pocket.
Yeah. Okay. What happened was, if you missed this, I bought Rohan a microphone, and do you know what I did? I did a Kolasinac. I went cheap and I paid the price in the end, and it was a terrible microphone. It's when Rohan sounded like a cat. So I've given him I posted him my old blue snowball. Did you like my
I did. I liked the name that you put on.
What did I put?
Dr. Rohan.
Dr. Rohan. I think it's issue. Dr. Rohan.
Not got a PhD though, so.
Have you actually?
No, I haven't got a PhD.
Oh, you haven't got. Sorry, I missed that. That's exciting. So yeah, tonight we're going to talk. We're going to talk the Rodri injury. We're going to talk Bolton. We're going to talk Leicester. We're going to talk your favorite team. We're going to talk how small Rohan is. We're going to we're going to talk a couple of stuff, and we're obviously going to come to your questions and so on and so forth. So thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Yes, Adeyinka, I did absolutely butcher that name. Apologies. Okay, should we talk about it? Right. I got cooked, and that's fine. I'm going to say a couple of things, and I genuinely then want to move on from it because it's just not interesting. First things first, I haven't really changed my position. I still don't think there's a media agenda against Arsenal, but it's fine if you do. I still think we're focusing on a few isolated incidents and pulling out, but it's fine if you think there's an agenda. I still think that if you ask every fan of every Big Six club, they'd be saying there's a media agenda. And I still think, as I said on the video, which you haven't seen, you can go check out on the Canon podcast. I don't need to plug it now. You can check it on the channel, which you can go check out. Yeah, I still maintain that I think, you know, most fans think the media and the referees are biased against them, and I just think that's a better way of looking at it. But people will disagree. What I did, Rohan, is I called Arsenal fans victims, and frankly, it probably wasn't the best move. So, you know, listen, it happens. Your thoughts, please, before we move on.
This is such a... Can't lie. On Sunday, when it all unfolded, some of the stuff I was saying, I will not be sharing on here for sure. When certain decisions were made, but so I think there's a lot to dive into with this. Firstly, in terms of the media, right now, ultimately, we don't have any quantitative analysis of this. You know, we don't have numbers to support your side or whatever of it, or the side opposing that. So it's very difficult to be really confident in the opinion that you're going to project, because we don't have the numbers to support it. And it's actually really difficult to get the numbers behind this. And secondly, I also think, to caveat, is that we don't watch every single team every single week, so we don't know every single decision that is happening, you know, in game. But what I will say is, I do think, and where I've seen like the conversations between you and George on Twitter and stuff, I do agree with him in the sense that the media, what they are saying, can have an adverse impact on what happens on the pitch. I really do believe that, because, like, for example, at a game, like, we all do it when you're at the stadium and you're watching your team play, you're the home crowd. Every single decision, right? Everyone is like appealing for it, like ref, every single time. Even if it's not the right decision, they're always doing that. And naturally, it becomes a subconscious for the ref, that it comes in the back of their mind, and they then start. They're not going to referee it differently. They're going to not try and referee it differently, but in the back of their mind, that does play an impact. And I'm a firm believer that kind of pressure does influence how the game is refereed. And I believe it's the same thing with the media as well. So when you have big pundits like Sir Jamie Carragher, Roy Keane, etc., who are portraying their views and their opinions in front of a massive audience, that I think can have a really bad impact in terms of it becoming a subconscious for the referees, because the referees, after they referee their game, they don't sit in a box, you know, and isolate themselves. They will be very aware of what is happening and what opinions are being projected. Like, for example, with the time wasting narrative that has came from Arsenal and cheating, etc. That has been, you know, and that's everywhere on social media, on TV, and referees, I think they will look at that opinion. It will be projected to them, and they won't go into a game refereeing. Like, they're not going to go in the next Arsenal game refereeing it in a way that is going to look completely at those moments in which Arsenal are time wasting. But it is in the back of their mind, and that for me is therefore, and that is as a result of what the media are saying. So I do think it has an impact. Now, I'm not saying that this doesn't happen at other clubs, which is why I can't sit here and say that Arsenal are on the bad end relative to other clubs more. But at the same time, I do think it has influenced our games. I really do. And I think it will influence our games, especially with the delaying of a restart. You know, and I think when you look at the number of yellow cards that have been handed for that so far, I think Arsenal we've had 3. You know, out of, I think 5 there has been from delaying a restart. You know, so there are things that are happening in the media that I do think influence proceedings. But it's difficult for me to quantify the impact of that. But I do think that it does come in the back of their head.
I think, as I said in the video, I don't. The problem is we're working with degrees of relativity here, and, you know, where we are on the scale, which is why I'm always keen. Because when you say, "Yeah, I agree, but I don't think it's that big," people say, "Oh, so you're saying it's not happening?" No. Or you say, "I think it is happening." Oh, so you're saying it's happening all the time? No, hang on. Like, where are we? There's a degree of relativity. I just don't think it matters that much, to be honest. I just don't think it. I think it affects the game 3%. 2%, something like that, and probably there's people who would say it's more, and it's just, and ultimately, as you were just saying, it's kind of ultimately you can't really. How could you do an analysis where you go, oh, the referees will play influence, but you couldn't.
But you know, if you're saying like it's only 3% or 2%, could that be enough though with the margins? You know,
yeah. Listen, people can say that that's a massive amount, and there's people who would say, well, 3%, even 3% is crazy. I just then, for me, when I'm talking about this specific thing, if we're zooming in on this specific thing, I just don't think it's a particularly big deal, which I recognize people get annoyed about if they think it's a big deal, but I just don't. So yeah, I think I just want to come to a couple of comments because I do genuinely want to move on because I want to talk about the young players. I want to talk about how great last night was, but I just want to come to a couple of things just to come to this. So Tom Johnson, Alex, there's no problem calling fans victims. We have no specific reasoning behind you. You just kept making generous point without giving a specific example. I'll give you a specific example. So I came in this evening and I was talking to my friend and we were talking about the issue. And he said, yeah, but the media were saying that Partey injured Rodri. That's not true. What he said was, by the way, that article, he got something wrong. He said Martinelli hit a cross into the box. So I'm not sat here defending the Athletic. I'm trying to give an example of a victim mentality or where I think it comes in. He went, oh, the media said that. I said, did you see that off the Rory Talk Sport tweet? And he went, yeah. I went,
no,
right.
I'm not. Yeah.
No, I was saying to my friend, I was like, did you see that on the Rory Talk Sport tweet? He went, yeah. I went, right. That's not what the article said. The article said he clattered him off the ball. We've then jumped to he's saying that Partey injured Rodri, which I understand as a jump, but it's an example of where we're looking for it a little bit. Because what he said isn't Partey injured Rodri. He said Partey clattered him off the ball, which is different. It's just a different thing. But ultimately, I genuinely want to draw. Unless you have something else to say, I genuinely want to draw.
The last thing I want to say on this is that over the years, I've been watching Arsenal for a very long time. As you know, I watched like every single game back twice as well because I'm absolute dweeb. But over the years, under Arsene Wenger, the narrative from the media was that Arsenal have a soft underbelly. And I think games that I've seen of us that were refereed, particularly against the likes of Stoke at the Britannia, they were refereed in a way that was very like, Arsenal told to kind of like have that mentality of get up, you know, it's soft. And I think that in that period, we had some really bad injuries. Now, I'm not saying other clubs also didn't have injuries, but I think that the way that the media were then at the time going with this narrative of Arsenal have a really soft underbelly, it did have a slight impact on how our games were refereed in some of those high octane games against the middle, the lower / middle clubs in the table. And now I think what will happen, like the time wasting thing, referees are going to be thinking in the back of their head, they're going to be watching, they're going to be keeping an eye on the likes of David Raya, for example, because that is what's being said in the media. Now, I'm not saying that they won't be watching that, they won't be keeping an eye on that on other clubs, but I'm very adamant that they'll be watching Arsenal because that's what's been portrayed. And this is where I look at it and I think the media, I used to have the opinion of, oh, who cares what Rio Ferdinand says? Who cares what Paul Scholes says? Who cares what Gary Neville says? But someone explained it to me before and like how it is important to care about what they're saying because of the impact it can have. And I actually do back that because I think, like I said, with the audience, with the platforms that they have and the audience that they're projecting it to, that is gonna create a ripple effect that leads to referees being exposed to that sort of opinion. And again, they're not going to go. I like to think, and I don't want to go on the corruption side of things because again, we don't have any evidence there to support that, but I'd like to think that referees are going into the games looking to referee in an appropriate way, in a fair way. But at the same time, there is a subconscious in the back of your mind when certain things are being said. You're looking out for a little bit more for that club, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really hear that, and I just don't think it's a massive issue, and I think it's a really small thing. Honestly, I just have to say that's just what I feel, and we can't prove it either way. I just don't think it's a big
hard.
thing.
It's very hard because, like, I know, like, sorry, quickly, just one quick thing. I think, like, there was I can't remember exactly, but there was a decision in one of our games this season in which we, as Arsenal fans, were saying, "Oh, that doesn't happen to any other club." But then I think I saw a Manchester United big account put like a reel and a comp of these decisions happening in their games as well. So it's like, it's very hard. It's very hard to
ask any. And this is my point. Ask any Liverpool fan, ask any Chelsea fan. They all have the same. You know, Chelsea at the beginning of the season about the squad size. They think everyone's on them. And I do want to move on, but just something you said was interesting. Just in terms of the ref, like also the idea that the pundits have weight. It's not the 90s. Things have changed. Like honestly, like people. If you go and look at the comments on a overlap episode or a Six Football episode, a lot of them are great. A lot of them about, I enjoy the banter or whatever, but a lot of them just disagree with their football opinions just constantly because you're so accessible. Because of course, and it completely makes sense. So look, anyway, I genuinely want to draw a line under it. I just have a certain opinion. I've stated my case, and look, ultimately, regardless, there's a degree of relativity and subjectivity in all of this. So anyone, including myself, because by the way, do I want to be a victim sometimes? Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Am I a hypocrite on this? Absolutely. But if you're asking me for a clear-eyed analysis of it, I do think it's what happened.
I do
People have
think
different
though,
opinions.
it's what's really frustrating is the fact that I've been tweeting over the past couple of days about like some of the details in the game. There's so many interesting things that are happening, and what really annoys me, just generally, we've played Aston Villa away from home, we've played Man City away from home, we've played Spurs away from home, and we should have 15 points, Alex. Genuinely, the referees have screwed us in game. Now, I'm not saying that they haven't screwed other teams, but they have genuinely screwed us.
It's
So
a flashpoint right now.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating because I'm adamant if that was 11v11, we win that game. Against Brighton, I'm adamant if that was 11v11, we win that game. I am very happy for the referees in terms of delaying the restart. I'm very happy for referees to send our players off if they believe they delayed the restart. But be consistent in game. It's not even between game weeks anymore. It's between like games in the same day.
I completely agree. And but then I completely agree with that. But then the jump people make is, and that's against Arsenal only. And I'm just going, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. That's my opinion. Well, I should have said, welcome to the Cannon Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Should we talk about last night? Unbelievable.
Yes, I do want to talk about City as well. I do want to talk a bit about the City game.
Can we come back to them? Because I do. I want to talk. I want to talk the young players. Man, I was there last night.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I was saying, I have to say, like, as much as I wanted to go yesterday, I saw the rain and thought, I'm actually quite happy I'm at home.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so here's a question.
Yeah.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
I was looking around, and there's quite a lot of empty seats, and there's two parts of my brain. I genuinely don't know which one I believe more. Is it unfair to say to people like it's a bit of a bad turnout, or can people just do what they want with their money? I'm kind of leaning towards that, but I was looking around and like there was a lot of people who weren't there, and I don't know. It felt like almost like a child in me was going like, "Guys," but actually, like the adult was like, "It's fine. Like people can do what they want." So I don't know. There's something about. I suppose it's when someone doesn't show the same investment of care in something you really care about. You're like, "Oh, why aren't you here?" But people can do what they want. Like, how do you feel?
It's like natural factors, like the magnitude. Now, the magnitude of the game influences whether people want to turn up after work. Bearing in mind, like a 9 to 5 shift after work in the cold as well. With changing seasons as well. We've changed seasons anyway. You know that impacts it. Getting late trains as well. Like genuinely,
it's raining for both teams.
Genuinely, like the game finishes at what? 9. It finished at like 9:30 yesterday because it kicked off at 7:45. Around about 9:45. Like the last trains, if you're like living in the Midlands, for example, which is where I live, you've got like an hour to get that quick train, and if you don't get that quick train, you've got to go on the train that takes about 4 hours to get to where you want to be. It's like those sort of things do impact it. Like but at the same time, if it's like
I just want you to reveal you're a Leicester fan. That's what I'm waiting for.
But at the same time, it's like if it's PSG at home, we know it's going to be a sold out crowd. It's like who am I to judge what someone does with their money? But what I will say, all right, I've got a really bad ick at games, and it infuriates me.
Tottenham chanting?
People, all right. Tottenham chanting when we're not playing Spurs. I also don't like. I've said this before. I'm not too keen on North London Forever.
No, it's nice. I like it.
I'm not too keen on it.
It's a little bit forced, but it's kind of. Do you know what it is? It's like when you turn up to a party and someone's like, "We're playing a drinking game," and you're like, "Oh, for goodness sake!" But actually, it usually breaks the ice a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that like everyone kind of rolls their eyes and like, there we go, bloody hell, play beer pong. But actually, in the end, you actually have quite a good time. That's what I feel like North London Forever's like. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, well, I don't mind North London Forever. Fine.
It's woke. I'll tell you what,
it's nice. It's wholesome.
I'll tell you what it is. It's woke.
It is very woke. It is very woke. But what really annoys me is when people are leaving early at halftime to get a burger. Like they leave the seat for 5 minutes early, and they go and fetch a burger.
Oh, mate.
Get ahead in the queue. I hate that. I hate it so much because I hate standing up. If I'm an uppity, I hate standing up to go. Oh, excuse me. Can I get past? Can I get past to go to the? Lost my head. Honestly, it really infuriates me. Genuinely, it really, really infuriates me because it's like I see like it's so many people just leave 5 minutes before halftime just to get ahead of the queue for a burger.
Yeah.
Eat before the game.
I have to say I went and got a I went and got a vegan pastry. I had a vegan. How woke is that? I went and got a vegan sausage roll. I will say it was like £7 for a sausage roll like this big, and it was the flakiest and warmest thing I've ever. I had it right. I bought it at half time. I didn't eat it till the 75th minute. That's how hot it was. I think Sterling had just scored, and I was eating it. Or whatever it was around then.
You need to hit the sweet spot. It can't be too warm. It can't be too cold.
Yeah, but then the problem was because it's being kept warm, or like what's the word? This is. If you haven't watched Cannon Pod Live or TDK Live, this is what we really talk about. Because it had been artificially kept warm. When you ate a bit of it, because the inside isn't that warm, it just loses all the heat. And these are the real issues. These are the real issues at Arsenal Football Club. No. I needed something. I also fell in love in the queue. Absolutely fell in love. In the queue for the
okay.
For the thing.
Yeah.
No, why are you being weird?
Oh,
if we weren't on Cannon Pod, you'd be straight in there.
I'll be straight. I had to
no, I don't care. I fell in love. Just a random girl. It's beautiful. Anyway. So yeah.
I thought that's what you were going to talk to us about. I thought you.
All right. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that later. So, game. Jack Porter, 16 years old. Used to be a centre midfielder. Classic. Apparently, Iñaki Kanya told Arteta that he was ready. That was like the vibe. Why are you looking at me like that? You're waiting for me to say the girl story, aren't you? I'll come back to it. Iñaki Kanya, and I think David Seaman picked him out when he was like really young and stuff. So there's obviously been a lot of stuff about him. He's England's U17 goalkeeper. I'm actually watching it back. I think he was all right. Look, obviously, tell you what I did notice. He was selecting the forward pass way more than Raya. Way more. And I found that really interesting, like going central rather than, Raya almost always, and obviously it's instruction, and not saying he can't do it, but he goes out wide a lot more, and Jack Porter was going straight through the middle. I don't think it particularly helped us, but that was just nice to see, like almost like a difference.
Confidence, isn't it? It's confidence as well.
Yeah, it's confidence. But also like the confidence in the receiver, someone like a Jorginho or whatever. So I thought it was good. I want to shout out Jakub Kiwior as well, by the way. Jakub Kiwior, mate, fair play to him. Yes, okay, it's Bolton. Well done. We all know. But he looked really good.
He did well against City as well when he came on. It's a difficult circumstance to come in, and bearing in mind he's had no minutes this season.
And in his season, yeah. No,
Arteta does like him in that spot at right centre.
He does
nominally.
There is.
There is. But if you remember, obviously back in the 22-23 season when Arteta eventually displaced he who shall not be named, it was Jakub Kiwior who came in at right centre back, wasn't it? And then last season as well, he had some games. It was a certain player's derby yesterday.
It was the testimonial for a Bobby Holding, wasn't it? There it is. Okay. Well, I mean, I thought Porter was good. It was like he was fine. Do you know what I mean? And I think for a 16-year-old to come in and not SH1C the bed or not, like, do you know what I mean? He was fine. Obviously, you probably could have done a little bit better on the 1v1, but you're being so hypercritical. It's a 5-1 for goodness sake. He did fine. There was one moment where he did a big kick, like in Sunday League when he goes big kick, keeper, and he goes forward, and everyone goes yeah. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So he was great. I thought Kiwior was he was fine. I thought Kiwior was really good. But we should probably just come on to Miles and Ethan, shouldn't we?
Yeah. I think I've always said, after pre-season, one of the big positives that we had was Hale End in general. Hale End, the pre-season, they were fantastic. Whether it was Salahudeen, whether it was Ethan Nwaneri, whether it was Miles Lewis-Skelly, Aidan Heaven, Josh Nichols, all of them showcased their impact, in difficult games as well. Because I said at the time that was our toughest pre-season under Mikel Arteta when you consider the caliber of teams, the range of different setups that we're facing, and the environments in which they were put in, big atmospheres as well. And I thought they shone through. And yesterday, again, it was a shame Miles came off with an injury. I don't know exactly what it was, but he was balling. And I made a tweet out. I tweeted out something today with the build up to Ethan Nwaneri's goal. How important? Well, it's it's so simple, but it's so effective in terms of having a left footer being able to progress play through the left. Now you saw it with Mars Lewis-Skelly. That pass, that into out curvature that allows Sterling to receive facing play immediately in favorable conditions, as Arsene Wenger called it before, technical empathy. And that kind of exemplified it. And Pep Guardiola's mentioned it before in terms of when you're looking at the left side of the pitch and the left winger receiving from a right footer means that the left winger is naturally going to be facing back to play on his favored foot, and then he's got to perform a few different actions before he sets himself to go forward. Whereas when you've got a left footer, it allows them to immediately receive on their weaker foot and then take it on their right if they're a natural right footer, like Martinelli, for example. And I think Mars Lewis-Skelly showed that in that moment. And I think just generally the confidence that he showed on the ball, willing to break lines every time he was given the ball. Like, what I really like about Calafiori gave Mars a lot of the license and a lot of the opportunities to progress play and build up. And he was fantastic. And it was a shame that he came off injured. But I thought he had a better performance than Ethan, but Ethan had the standout moments.
I think this. Do you know what it is? Sorry, just to quickly think before we go on. Will Evans became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Will, and thank you so much to Nick. I think Nick, I interact with you quite a lot on Twitter, so thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Okay. So the thing with Ethan is there's this big, even that we're calling them Ethan and Miles. Isn't that funny? If they were signed, you probably wouldn't. Even if they were 16, you probably wouldn't. You'd use their surname, but there's like a sense of ownership, isn't there? Or like a sense of, closeness, I guess, in some way, in like a parasocial way, right? And I think with Ethan, you could feel, I will say in the ground, you could feel the expectation on him. Every time he touched the ball, you can see people doing this. You can hear, go on. Like there's just moments. There was a moment where he received it off Nichols, I think it was, just took it on the back foot and played a pass. It was really simple. Yeah. And everyone's going, yeah. Like there's this like real like love for him, which is really, really lovely. And it's a really nice feeling in the stadium to be like, to almost be witnessing something. I think he's in the top 4, certainly youngest ever goal scorers for Arsenal. He think he's the youngest since Jack Wilshere. Yeah. But it's the low center of gravity. It's the willingness to play forward. There was a moment where he did something. He went forward, and I don't mean this as a criticism, but I was like, that's not what Ødegaard would do. Ødegaard, and by the way, there's you can't go forward at all times. We said this about Ethan right before. You can't be constantly progressing, constantly. Every action is forward, forward, forward. That's stupid. But as a young player, just to have that impetus, that drive, the sort of the engine from midfield that he has is so exciting. But I actually agree with you in terms of an all-round game, out of possession, in possession, affecting the game, every action, every duel. I need to watch it again to fully compare. I actually thought Miles had the better night. I think they're both brilliant, but because Ethan has that little bit around him, I think that's where
there's more attention on Ethan. He's more known to the general Arsenal fan base.
You still can't pronounce his name, but that's fine.
I can. Can you?
Go on.
You go first.
Ethan Nwaneri.
It's Nwaneri, isn't it?
You just said it twice differently.
Okay, I'll go Nwaneri.
Yeah, Nwaneri.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said Nwaneri.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Moneypenny.
Moneypenny.
But generally, in terms of Ethan's performance, again, I thought he was fantastic. And where I see a lot of similarities to Ødegaard is the responsibility he takes in the middle third and his willingness to drop deep and to try and progress play. Whether it may not be in the same manner as Ødegaard stylistically, I'd say Ethan's more of that kind of carrying type when he's coming deep to receive. And I remember the Bournemouth game in pre-season was where it really hit me how Bournemouth effectively was starting like their first team Premier League players. And you had like Cook there, and Ethan is literally receiving it under pressure from Cook, who's man marking him. And he's riding his challenge and he's getting forward and he's able to exploit the spaces further up the pitch. And what I really like about him is his willingness to switch to the left-hand side, where he's baiting to go towards the right and keep and look to funnel play still in that area. But then he'll bait and he'll turn and then he'll switch to the far side. And he did that in a couple of moments in the first half. And just generally, I think what's very important is how youngsters, we will obviously analyze them. We will look at their overall performance and say, he's played well. But output really gives you that kind of like, he's had a really good performance. It's the headline. It's the headline. And I think he needed that. I think he absolutely needed that for him to really put his name out there for selection against Leicester. And I don't know about you, but I've been looking at these fixtures, and obviously with the Ødegaard injury, and I said that I think people were calling for Ethan to get minutes against Man City and Spurs. I didn't think it was the environment for him. I think those games can become very transition based in certain moments. But games against the likes of Leicester and Southampton, in which we're going to have all the ball, in terms of field tilt, in terms of sustaining pressure, we're going to have all the ball, a lot of touches. I think that is the environment. If you're going to chuck a player of that talent in, that is the environment you want to chuck him in. And I really do hope, although I don't think it will happen because he played the full 90, I really want him to start on Saturday. Genuinely.
I would love that. Yeah, I would
seriously.
love that. And it would, do you know what it was as well? Because there's a few people, I can't lie, right? There's a few people last night going like, oh, so all the people who said that Arteta doesn't trust youth, where are you now? Bro, he's 5 years in. You can't just ignore the last 5 years where I have been calling for Arteta to use youth more and integrate them more. But of course, there's caveats. Of course, there's, as you know, Mr. Caveat. There's the talent, and in terms of the timing, and there's been loads of stuff. I still think he could have done better, but I appreciate that there's lots to it. But now feels like the opportunity where he's trusting people. That Maldini bloke looks about 47. Looks older than me. Bro, he's so stocky.
My brother said the same thing as well. I was like, who is this guy? Yeah.
And he's called Maldini. We absolutely love it. Josh Miller, thank you so much with your Saliba, Abby. But I mean, I love to see that trust. And I just would love that to translate to this weekend.
I really do.
Can I just, sorry, Arteta had some comments as well.
Yeah.
There were some comments from Arteta that I did think were interesting about Nwaneri, and we'll just try and find them while you waffle on. Bloody hell.
No, but genuinely, I think there've been key moments this season which has shown the trust on Ethan in particular. Obviously with Fabio Vieira and Emil Smith Rowe, was willing to let them go. Fabio Vieira obviously on a loan and Smith Rowe on a permanent deal. That is a sign that he is confident in integrating Ethan. But also, I think against Spurs, it was a really interesting moment, and we spoke about it last week actually, where when Saka went down, the natural switch would be to go to that back five, but with actual defenders. Naturally we go to a back five depending on ball side, in terms of if the opposition is looking to overload and push the fullback high alongside the winger. That's when our wingers will drop back. But genuinely, in those types of game states where we're under the cosh and Arteta is looking to see the game out in a different way, he will bring on a centre back to form that back five. But what we saw is Ethan come on, for Saka, and that was very interesting. I think these are small little nuggets that are potentially telling us
indications.
We're gonna indications. And maybe we're gonna.
Space Time's put it in the chat as well. Apparently, Kai Karnat reported Arteta's known about Nwaneri since he was about 12. Kid was a prodigy. Yeah. So Dan Michichi gave an interview to someone. I think it was Football London, but it could have been someone else. Dan Michichi, who used to be Arsenal's U16 coach, or was certainly involved in the youth setup. Certainly, I think he went to England. George will know. George will know everyone. I texted him about Jack Porter. I was like, basically, what happens every time there's a youth player that we hear about, I've never heard of. The first thing I do is go, Jack Porter. I just send the name, and it will just give me a little fact file. It's just great. It's like a little what's the word? What's the word? Encyclopedia. That's not the word I'm looking for. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Apparently,
encyclopedic knowledge.
Yeah, we'll call it that. There's a joke here about encyclopedia. No, I won't make it. No. Move past it. It's too early. Yeah. Basically, he was saying that basically day one, or the first week, Arteta was like, apparently you got a player for me, and it was Nwaneri, who was in the U16s playing for. He was in the U16s and he was 12, which is just absolutely mad. So he said about Nwaneri, it's another step. It's ahead of what anybody could expect. In his journey with the first team, he's always ahead of what everybody expected and what I expected as well. He's part of us, so he will have the minutes. And that was in response to a question about Premier League minutes. So he was like, is he going to get minutes in the Premier League? So he literally says he will have the minutes. So I don't know. Obviously you could read it different ways. You could say he's talking about the whole season, but there was a part of me that's like, you just get a sense, especially when I watched it as well, because you can watch it. It just felt like he was referring to the Premier League. So I don't know. I don't know whether Arteta would be that honest, but there you go.
I hope so, but it's the fact that he played 90 minutes kind of makes me think he's not going to start him. I think if Ethan came off after, I don't know, 60, 70 minutes, I think maybe he's going to actually throw him in. I think when we're talking about an environment to throw a player in, like I say, Leicester and Southampton is perfect.
Your
genuinely
boys.
perfect.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's literally like shut it, you. But it's literally like, you know, you're talking about the types of. I'd argue Leicester is a better place to throw him in than Southampton. Actually, Southampton, even though they've not done very well so far, but they are a little. They will play a little bit hard. They will look to be a little bit more aggressive. But at the same time, it's Southampton and Leicester. You know,
Yeah.
every Premier League team, you know, is adopting more of a positional setup. You know,
They have
going
something
all
to
the way
them.
through.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just think that, you know, I don't think I'll ever get anytime soon that Saka interior option and actually him starting there, and with
Yeah.
Sterling on the right wing. If you're not going to go down that route, I think in these types of games, I'd really like to see Ethan Nwaneri to play.
Yeah. And I wonder why. I mean, maybe it's just no. Do you remember that question James, as in James, my boy from Gooniverse, asked Arteta in pre-season?
Yeah.
That's such a niche question. Do you remember the question that James B asked Arteta in the press
I
conference?
know which one you're
in the
talking
US
about,
tour?
though. I know which
Oh
one you're
my God,
talking
we're
about.
such nerds. He asked him basically why he didn't move White from right back to play centre back. He put Timber in a right centre back, I think it was, or something like that. And he basically said to only make one change instead of two. And I think that might be a bit of his sort of methodology.
And I also think, you know, with that, it kind of again is another difference of Arteta to Pep. Now, again, we've mentioned you're right there, struggling. It's too many gains, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too big, man.
Too many gains. But generally, you know, when we talk about rotation, squad management, it's something that Arteta needs to show the entirety of the season. I think one thing that we do tend to forget is how much Arteta values continuity and certain relationships on the pitch. He does, and that is a massive part of his management. And I think that kind of goes into what he said there. You know, I'd rather make one change than two. But I generally think in terms of dynamics, by simply putting Ethan into the team in that nominal setup, right, and moving Havertz back nominally to centre forward, even though if you go a little bit more geeky, Havertz was actually playing centre forward against Man City in the first half, but I won't go there. It's a very simple change, isn't it? It's one change that you make into the team, and it allows the dynamics to be same. He's not going to offer the same qualities as Martin Odegaard, but systematically, it's not a big change. And
I also wonder if Ben White isn't available.
Yeah.
Does that affect things because you need that overlap? But Noel Graham asked a good question. How do you guys think the other Hale End players did? Ethan and Miles obviously stood out. Why are people talking about me making an OnlyFans in the comments?
OnlyFans? Have you got an OnlyFans? Oh, it's because you were taking your. It's because you were taking your.
No, bro. I don't have an OnlyFans. I don't have an OnlyFans. I don't have an OnlyFans. Josh Nichols.
I think he's. I have to say, what I really like.
Tom Johnson. Tom Johnson. Alex will make his OnlyFans $3.99 a month. Listen, if you don't think my OnlyFans will be worth more than a Canon podcast Patreon subscription, I'm a little bit offended.
Yeah.
How much would you pay for my feet pics? Don't answer that. Let's move on.
What I'll say about Josh Nichols, I think in terms of when you look at the numbers and the stats, I don't think it'll obviously be the most impressive, especially in terms of his passing numbers. But what I really liked about him was his intent and his bravery to play forward. And there are moments in the game where he was giving it away quite cheaply, but he kept going. Now, you could argue that again isn't the correct way to kind of sustain pressure, for example, because you want to be able to keep the ball and recycle it.
Sorry, ironically, I'm interrupting you. This is such a funny comment.
But this is what we do. But I think with Josh Nichols, like I really like how he grew into the game, and he was massively involved, obviously, in the build-up to Declan Rice's goal. And I just think I like young play in these types of games. I don't think there should be loads of focus on the tactical details of it, especially against the types of opposition that we're playing against Bolton. With all due respect, I like to isolate individuals and their personality on the pitch and what they're trying to do. And I really like the fact that he was always brave and even when he was giving the ball away, he still kept trying to play forward. He kept trying to push on that accelerator. So
it's something I see in a lot of the Hale End kids, like, you know, Aiden Heaven. Like, you remember that mistake he made against
Man United against Hoyland.
That's his name.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember it. Obviously, that's what just happened. Didn't his commentate on that. Anyway, Hoyland, and the way he responded was really, really exciting. Same with Josh Nichols. He gave it away a couple of times, but he just kept going. You didn't see him dip. And all of them seem to have this like ability to roll contact, or like at least deal with contact. I'm not saying they're all perfect, but physically I don't worry about it. The more of it is like the decision making, the pass selection, that sort of stuff. Like I'm watching them, and obviously you're comparing Josh Nichols to Ben White, which isn't fair. But in your mind, you're going, "Oh, Ben makes that pass, he does that way," and he's making different stuff, and that's fine. Part of that is a personality, part of that is not understanding the structure, or part of that is making different decisions, whatever it might be. But physically, you see yes, they're still young, but there's a maturity to them. And I think that's really what Haaland have been pushing, as from what I understand in terms of methodology. Like, strong young gunners and lifelong learners and their whole thing and that ethos, but being physically ready. I mean, I know we mentioned it, but Maldini. I mean, Christ,
He could have both of us, couldn't he?
Christ, mate, absolutely. Yeah. How many of you and me to beat him in a fight? 5.
I reckon 5. Yeah.
Yeah, 5, probably 5.
What's for Sterling though? Sterling?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that was a perfect example of when a player just gets a bit of confidence, because I think you can draw a line in the sand of Sterling's performance last night between before he got the assist, not the goal, before he got the assist and after. Yeah. And like, I was really happy to see him taking his man on, making certain decisions. He was trying to beat his fullback. He was coming inside. He was carrying, chill out. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't unbelievable.
That's good. That is good.
Yeah. Who was the impression
one you did?
Who was the impression I did? You just didn't like it at all.
But
was it Neville?
The chat actually disagreed. No, it was Neville. Yeah, but the chat disagreed with me. They said that it was good. So.
Oh, it's not good at all. But yeah, I liked how he took his fullback on. I liked how he carried. I liked how he was. Yeah, he just seemed to be more in himself and in his. It was mainly just in his decision making. And he looks good, man. But also, what I saw after the game, which is what I said, by the way, from the first set of training photos, you can go search this out. I'm trying to prove why I shouldn't be cooked again. I said that the training photos came out, and the first thing I thought was he looks knackered.
Yeah.
And Arteta said last night we're still getting up to the physical levels. I think we actually even said this on a TDK Live when he signed.
We said it. Yeah,
it's going to take. It's going to. Yeah. Probably you said it. We're like.
No, you said it, and I kind of. We both came to the same agreement. Okay.
That's nice. Thanks, man. But yeah, I think it's a big consideration, like coming from there.
Yeah.
Because Arteta, I think I saw this thing from The Athletic, because I was looking something up the other day, and there was an article from 2020, basically, so only like a couple of months into the Arteta thing, saying basically the players have been running, like Arteta's just completely put a stop to the players running the fitness and the recovery and all that sort of stuff. And I appreciate that the methodology takes time to come in, but yeah, we forget that when a player signs, it's going to take them some time to properly acclimatize.
But when you look at Mikel Arteta and you look at his managerial style, and there's so many different components to it, but what is the fundamentals and the staples of play? It is out of possession. There's so much emphasis on out of possession, and the level of pressing that we do.
Elite ball striking.
Elite ball striking.
Elite turning radius. We haven't said it yet. Between the lines.
Right. Between the lines. He's not good enough out of possession. That's
when you want to discredit them. You say he's not good enough.
Yeah, but you still just throw it in there.
Just chuck it in there.
Yeah. Half space crossing.
Yeah.
But in general, like, that is, in terms of staples and fundamentals, that is a massive component to our identity. We are the best out of position team in the world, in my opinion. The way that we press, whether it's zonally and then kind of like going from zonal to man. And I actually want to talk about Declan Rice as well, because the build up to Ethan Nwaneri's second goal, that is the perfect example of being zonal in the press. Declan Rice is actually he's marking two players, and the guy who's in possession, Declan Rice, has baited him to kind of pass to the other pivot player. And then he knows he's going to pass it there, and then he intercepts, and then we score the goal. And that is a perfect example why you would go zonal, because when you go completely man-to-man, you're effectively forcing the opposition to go long immediately. Whereas when you go a little bit more zonal, you're leaving certain players free and as bait, because when they play that pass, you have a good opportunity of turning over possession. I remember the Newcastle game last season at home was a really good example of that, of Declan Rice doing a really good job on Longstaff and Bruno. But just in general, Raheem Sterling, I think physically, he didn't look at the races completely. But what we saw for his assists for Nwaneri, the first goal, is what he can offer against mid blocks, for example, and that pace in behind. And something that we both said it in terms of requirements in the summer. I always felt that we needed to add another runner across the front line. That was my fundamental requirement. Now, Raheem Sterling wasn't even in my thought process, but when I heard about Raheem Sterling on, a couple of days before deadline day, and the finances to it and how it's very favorable to us, it made so much sense. And he's going to add a lot, and think of that run, that off the shoulder run in those games against mid blocks that you bring Raheem Sterling on. It's going to have a massive impact on us. And I genuinely think it could go down as one of the smartest piece of business in the summer. Genuinely.
Yeah, I think. Listen. When you're coming into a structure as good as ours, it gives you every tool you need to survive and thrive. Do you know what I mean? So I absolutely buy that, and we'll see, right? Kieran52 says, how many goals do you reckon we get from Sterling just being in the right spot when the ball is pinballing in the box like his goal last night? I mean, it's kind of how they constructed his whole thing with Sane, right? Yeah, I mean, I was pleased with how quickly he reacted. I appreciate, yes, it's against Bolton, but in terms of the speed of the reaction, he looks sharp. So yeah, and it's funny when you're in the stadium, man, because you just, and this is why, another reason, not to go back to the conversation, but why just about narratives, why I think they matter less than people think, because that's all stuff that happens away. When you're just watching the game, you're seeing different things. You're not applying narratives and Twitter and Sky, whatever. That's all added on. You're just watching what's happening in the game. Yeah. And Raheem I felt, looked like a sort of, not a technical leader, but there was a sense of, I don't know, when he was growing into the game, there was someone there that I can see played out in 3 to 4 months' time. Someone that can be a really significant influence on this team, but not only that, on the young players. In the same way with, because we're missing a little bit, I think, of leadership in a certain way in players who can get in the team. Do you know what I mean? Because yes, we have our Jorginhos and we have our, actually maybe he's the only one, but the sort of older heads who've kind of been there, done that, won it and stuff. But he realistically, he's not going to get in our first team. And Sterling, I think, can. I think, certainly could have a run in it. And I think he could become a massive influence for us, genuinely. So I'm open to it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And do you remember when we spoke about it and about Raheem Sterling, how, when we're talking about X Factor players and Arsenal need more X Factor forwards, Bukayo Saka can be our X Factor player by us being able to manage his minutes. And when you look at Raheem Sterling, you look back at Manchester City, the Centurions, right? Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sane, out and out touchline wingers, but on their favoured foot. Sterling on the right, Sane on the left. Raheem Sterling has a plethora of experience in that role. And also Raheem Sterling, by the way, the title that City won in 21-22 against Aston Villa when they're 2-0 down, who they bring on? They brought on Raheem Sterling, right wing, and who had a massive influence in them winning the title that season. So this is a guy who, in terms of the physical aspect of him, I think that's down to the environment that he was at Chelsea and the fact that they weren't tasked to press with the same level of intensity there. And he's been there for a long time. And now coming to Arsenal, it's naturally going to take him time to be able to adapt. And you kind of seen that. But what I really do think we're going to get is a player who's going to allow us to combat certain game states that we lacked in last season. And also, I don't know if you've seen it, but Arteta, when there was a documentary about Raheem Sterling and how we can kind of maximize him more, Arteta said that we just need to put him in more goal-scoring positions, law of averages, to increase his output. Because Raheem Sterling is going to frustrate us. I don't know how old he's, 30 odd or something?
He's already frustrated me a couple of times when he's carried and made decisions.
And that is going to he's going to frustrate you. But that's the type of player he is. But the tools that he has is something that we have lacked in the squad in terms of variety. I've always felt that our backline, the reason why our backline is so good is because we have so much variety to combat different game states. Our forward line, it was so ball to feet heavy. Martinelli was that out and out runner. Kai Havertz can run, he's deceptively very quick, etc. But we didn't have that, and I think he's going to add so much.
I agree, and I also don't, because he did it last night, I also don't think up to now we've had that. We have it from Saka on the inverse, but that curled shot, because Trossard can drive it from the edge of the box. But that curled kind of finesse shot from the edge of the box on the left, which Sterling has, that we haven't had up to now, I think is important.
Great point. I actually, just before we go to the super, what I wanted to say is that's something Martinelli needs to unlock more outside the box. Whereas I think Martinelli, when he cuts in, he's actually very underrated in terms of his crossing in the half space. He doesn't get enough opportunities
the back stick. Yeah.
But I don't think I can't remember many Martinelli goals outside the box where he cuts in and he bends it to the far corner. I
No.
generally can't remember. Not outside the box.
No.
Inside the box, there are examples, but outside the box, there's not loads.
Yeah.
No.
And that's that's fine.
Yeah,
You
and
just have
that's
some
fine.
skills, but
Yeah.
there are going to be games where that's where the spaces are. So you need to be able to exploit that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Just happy to see Rohan here. So am I. I think you are maybe the most universally loved Arsenal content creator. That's my
Are you
take.
just saying that? Are you saying that to?
No, I love you, Rohan. You know I love you. I think you are. Who could hate you? Listen to your laugh. You're so cute.
No. I've never
Cute. That's
received.
patronising. But you're very sweet, a nice guy.
I've never received a bad DM on Twitter. Genuinely.
I have, mate.
Have you? Sometimes I'll have a look at it. I'm actually really bad at it. I don't check them often enough, but I've not had like any bad ones. Although everyone has like bad replies, but in your tweets. But I've not had.
Sarah Gwen 1, thank you for super chat. Any ideas, ladies team? We used to be the pioneers, and you followed up with wanted to say more, but super chat as a character limit. I meant we're fighting a challenge in the Champions League, but we used to be the team to pioneer the. Okay, so you just get rid of our super chat guy.
Oh, did I do that?
Wow.
Did I do that? Oh my god!
Disrespect that this man just showed you.
Did I actually do that? Oh, damn.
You're in charge, mate. You're the boss. It's your podcast.
I need to be more careful here.
Not any men's. Yeah, I'll be real. I don't know enough about the ladies team, and I do want to get into it, but there's a limit in the day, isn't there? There's just a limit in the time. And the thing with me, genuinely, I can't do anything casually. If I watch a film, people who watch films with it in the background, what are you doing? I said this to you last week, didn't I? I can't watch a football game casually. No, you're either watching it or you're not.
I think films is different, though. I think films is different than football. I think you can watch football casually.
No, you can't.
I think you can.
No,
I think you can.
You can, mate.
Yeah, you can. Experts can't.
Yeah, all right. Experts, mate. No, but I get sucked in. So it's the same with the ladies thing. If I'm gonna watch it, I have to really watch it. I've been to a few ladies games actually back in 22-23. Before it was trendy, yeah. It's not trendy.
Before it's a trend. Before it's become bougie.
What was the trend? It's classic men being like, yeah, it's really trendy at the moment, isn't it? Women's football. Yeah. Good luck to them.
Generally, though, it's really good to see the fact that they're selling out crowds. They're selling out crowds like
Bro, it's huge.
It's so
it's
good,
amazing.
honestly, and it's like, so happy for it.
Yeah.
Actually,
so cool.
I've got to give a lot of props to. I think it was Vinay before. Vinay put a lot of emphasis on that in terms of and it was also like at Arsenal, at London Colony, they have like a universal gym where
everyone meets.
The academy graduates, you have the women's, you have the men's team, and they're all like pushed to train together. I think that's so good.
It's amazing.
So good.
And like think about they'll have different sets of coaches with different ideas and different methodologies, and like the ability to match that and talk about stuff. And it's so important, your fellow professionals and stuff. It's really, really cool. It's really cool.
But I don't think people are very happy with Jonas at the moment. I think I've been seeing a lot of like Jonas out.
There's a bit of that. Because here's my base knowledge. Miedemar signed for City in the summer, right? And we had a world record bid rejected on deadline day, which by the way tells you about the ambition. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But Miedemar scored against Arsenal on the weekend.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Ollie Norton says hairline.
Why?
We want a hairline reveal, mate.
Generally, right?
Someone got annoyed.
It's around. It's like natural. It's normal.
Someone got annoyed, but it is because they said I was bullying you into revealing your hairline.
No, it's not bullying. Is it as the game?
It's the same with George. Do you know? It's the same with George. Like I know I'm a bit soppy, but I love and respect you two so much that when people are like, "Oh, Alex is disrespecting Rohan," I'm like, "No, I'm not. I love him." Or Alex is disrespecting George. Don't listen to him. I love George. Like, okay, you view what you want, but do you know what I mean? It's just it kind of annoys me. Had a realization that Howard Webb is the same guy in the 2010 World Cup final who gave out like 100 yellow cards and ruined the game. Now he's in charge of the rest of these clowns. That ref. Yeah, referees. I mean, there is a
It really
problem.
is.
Whether let's put the bias against Arsenal thing aside, there is a problem with refs, and it's the
Yeah,
consistency.
genuinely.
I was watching it last night. I was with my other friend Rowan. Well, he's Rowan, and you're Rohan. It gets
And what
confusing.
really annoys me is when people call me Rowan. I think it's very, very rude, to be honest. There's a H there. It's not easy. It's not hard to say. Like,
Yeah, but if I read your name just for the first time, I would assume it's Rowan.
yeah, I don't mind if it was.
But I'm anglicizing it. If I didn't know you were Brown as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. True. But no, but it's like when you tell someone. I've had this at work. When you tell someone, it's Rohan, and I'll say it really politely, maybe a little bit passive
Yeah,
aggressive, maybe
a little wink, little one of those.
a little bit. Then when you do it again, like, okay, I'm gonna start calling you something different. Like your name's Charles, I'll call you like Dean.
Just completely change it.
Yeah.
Call him generic white man. Yeah, I think yeah, it's a concern. And yeah, the guy I was with last night. So Ron, he's such a legend. He's my old acting teacher, and he was talking about Aussie rules, and he was saying because the thresholds for stuff are so high, players just don't. So, like, for example, if you talk back to the ref even a little bit, beep, you're off. It's like it's just that. So just players just don't even do it. And I think at the moment we have, because the rules are constantly moving around or whatever. And like, for example, if you foul, it's like or you talk back as like an immediate 50-yard penalty. I'm not saying you do that with every single rule, but I think there's some rules that I would like to see. It's just so clear. For example, the kicking the ball away thing, right? By the way, I know we've been stung by that, but if that was just an automatic, because it isn't, clearly, João Pedro did it, Doku did it, do you know what I mean? It's complete rubbish.
Mateta did it as well.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's clearly
Right.
completely subjective. You either drop it completely down and you make it just a talking to or whatever, or you just go, if you kick the ball away, it's you're off or whatever. And I guarantee players within a couple, and obviously there'll be a period where players go, what? But he was saying, and he had a good point. Stuff like that, if you just make it like the harshest punishment you can, it'll annoy people for a while, but it will go out the game eventually. And I think he's right.
No, that's a good point. It's a good point from your friend Rowan.
Should I get him on the pod? Better than me.
Yeah, get on the pod.
Yeah, better than me. Sack me off. Your mate knows nothing about AF. I'll be real. I probably completely misrepresented his point. And he watches a lot of Aussie rules. He watches a lot of Aussie rules. I bet he'd take issue with that. But yeah, let's go back to the super chat. Thank you, Anmol. Yeah. Fix PGMOL on stream. Come on, Rowan.
All I know. All right. Honestly, it actually infuriates me that we should have 15 points on the table. We should have 15 beautiful points, and we played Aston Villa, played Spurs, played Man City away from home. And Brighton at home is also not easy. It's never easy. Mate. But Rodri injury, and the Rodri injury, I have to say, right, I've got quite annoyed with like City fans online. They're like, oh, Arsenal fans are celebrating the Rodri. Arsenal fans, well, the normal Arsenal fans are not celebrating. Yeah, actually, it's really annoyed me because they're trying to paint a picture. It doesn't annoy me that much, but let's say it annoys me.
For the sake of this. I had this today. I was talking about me and George's debate with George, and I was like, yeah, within the context, I care about it, but like outside the context, I just, it's funny.
I don't really care about it,
I thought you had a point. Sorry, I interrupted you for the 57th time this podcast. Get used to it. What was I going to say? I had something to say. Yeah, look, I don't know how you fix it, but I think the main thing that we keep banging on about, but it's true, it's just consistency, isn't it? It's just consistency. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's and the fact
not
that
even between within games. It's like
within games on the same day. It's like it's Super Sunday. You got the 2:00 kickoff and the 4:30 kickoff. You have literally discrepancy between the two games. It's
I do think a really simple change should be you should be allowed to VAR check a second yellow. I think that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, and again, like to go on the referee side, it's not easy as well to referee.
Ooh.
It's not easy, so you need a bit of.
I like this, right? So people talk about slowing the game down, right?
Yeah.
If you could somehow get rid of the bit where all the players are complaining to the referee, 5 minutes added to the game. 5 minutes. I don't know how you do it, But then with the challenge flag, I quite like the challenge thing. Each team gets one challenge, and they
like in cricket. It's like in cricket.
And they have their
the
own
review.
team where they make
Yeah.
a case for whatever. Because ultimately there is subjectivity, and you make a case for it. The problem is it's the refs, and they just won't admit when they're wrong, will they? VAR is not going to admit when they're wrong.
The issue is that there's so much level of subjectiveness in football that it makes it very difficult at times. And also, it's kind of like, it's very hard. When I was thinking about this, like I've always felt that the way that they do it in cricket in terms of reviews for each team, like if like for example, if someone's caught led before wicket, I know you don't watch cricket, so I'll
LBW, mate. I know what that is.
Yeah, LBW. Yeah.
Me and Mr. Tim in year 2 at primary school, we loved it, mate.
Brian Lara, Sachin Tendulkar. Yeah, sure, you know Tendulkar. You've heard of Tendulkar.
They are great.
Joe Root. Alistair Cook.
He plays for Bournemouth, doesn't he? No, I know Alistair Cook. I think I might have heard of Joe Root, to be fair, but the other guys I've never heard of. No.
But yeah, you can.
Who's the bloke who won Strictly?
I don't know who's. Is
there
it
was
Freddie
a cricketer
Flintoff?
who won Strictly. Hang on.
Did Freddie Flintoff?
I think he won the first Strictly. BBC Strictly.
Was it Freddie Flintoff? I don't know.
Winners. I love Strictly, mate. The
do you know what
Mark
I really
Ramprakash.
Mark Ramprakash won Strictly.
I know him because he won Strictly. I watched it with my mum on Saturday. Strictly's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's so good.
I don't know. But how's Paul Merson doing? Is he doing all right?
So there was this moment, right, where he was wearing this like outfit, and he was like, "Oh, I look a bit stupid." And they went, "How you feeling about the dance?" And he just went, "Yeah, I'll be all right." And I just loved it so much because everyone's like, "Yeah, I'm really nervous. Yeah, oh, gonna be such a big night. I'm so excited to be here." And he was just like, "Yeah, I'll be all right. Be fine."
Merson, he's genuinely like a treasure at times. In punditry, but it's like you can't guess his. Merson, you cannot guess his next.
A boomerang.
He's a boomerang. Yeah.
Have you seen that video of him pronouncing players' names?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh my god, it's so funny. It's so funny. It's so funny. What are we talking about? PGMOL, challenge flags. Something cricket.
Yeah, going back to in cricket. Yeah, you have reviews. You have a review system where the batsman can challenge the umpire, and you then have like ball tracking, which will then give you the actual graphic of when the ball is bowled and if it's going to hit the stumps or not. I'm not gonna go into this because I know you don't like cricket, but basically you can challenge. You can challenge. Yeah, I've always felt it'd be interesting to see that implemented. But it's not.
I like that. I like that idea.
It's not easy though.
Should we talk Rodri? So I was on. Hi guys, is Rohan taller than Babs? Met Babs yesterday. He's generally no more than 5'2". Rohan's 5'1".
No, now listen, right? Listen, and please, if you're watching, no, there was actually 2 people. So the game against Brighton, there was 2 people who just literally said, "Is that Rohan?" And then they were literally both of them were like, "He's not 5'3". I was like, "Yes, I know."
It's one of the greatest narratives we've ever spun.
It's crazy because
you are 5'4".
Someone actually, and I didn't lie. That guy said, "Oh, I saw Rohan at London Euston, and he's generally no taller than 5'3". I was like, I was actually at London Euston, so I was thinking, hold on a minute.
No, you're not 4'1", but you are 5'4". But why aren't you denying it? Where's the proof?
5'10", 5'11" with Air Maxes, good cushion shoes. We'll hit it. We'll hit that a little bit more, just a little bit. You are taller than me, but you do have hair tax.
I don't have much hair. People were saying bald spot reveal Lewis. But I haven't got a bald spot. There's nothing.
No, I'm not got a bald spot either. Look, no bald spot.
I'm doing all right. All right, guys, leave me alone. I don't have mean comments today. What were we talking about? Yeah,
Rodri injury.
So I was on James Alcott's The Ripple Effect. Always good fun. Met Doogie Critchley, who works on Sky. Really, such a nice guy. Immediately, he was just really nice. I was like telling him about my family and stuff. It was really nice. And James is a legend. And we were talking about Rodri and how City replace him. My take is this. You can't. So don't try and you're not going to sit there and go, well, if you play him and do X, it's not going to work. So for me, it's about going. I think in most games, City would be all right with like a Gundogan or like in most non-top 6 games, they'd be fine with like a Gundogan or maybe a John Stone stepping forward or something like that. There's like a singular thing. But for me, I feel in the big games, I've got to do it wrong. We cannot replace him. We cannot replace him. We cannot.
No, do it again. That was not good.
Poor. That was poor, wasn't it?
You're way better than that.
We cannot replace him. We cannot.
Yes, better.
That's a little bit better. The first one was too low.
Yeah, well, I don't know what was the first one.
Yeah, that was shocking. Shocking.
I don't know.
Absolutely shocking. Yeah. So I was saying that, but basically, I think in the big games, you basically go. What people's in the chat say that was terrible. You basically go, what is the most important Rodri quality today? So, say for example, you're looking at short passing. So that Jorginho's, you'll know this, Jorginho's role in the game against Liverpool, Emirates, 23-24. That short passing thing to break free out of the high press, you go for Rico Lewis. I think something like that. You do that because I think he's got the angles to do that. If you want someone who's going to offer you threat on the edge of the box, I think you might go for someone. You could argue maybe you pull Bernardo Silva inside. And when I say threat, I don't mean goal threat. I mean like balls in behind or sort of the cute pass around the corner.
Gundogan.
It could be Gundogan, or you could say actually, you have Rico Lewis earlier on in the phase of play, and then you pull Rico outside. You pull Rico outside, and then you put Bernardo Silva inside, and he's the one who's playing the passes in behind. So you could do that. And then you go on and go on. And then if you're looking for someone who's, I don't know, if you're looking for someone more physically robust, maybe you start John Stones from there and you don't give him any touches, but he's the one who's meant to control the transitions. I just don't think you're going to, like, if you look at Rodri's radars, I'm going to try and find one of Rodri's radars. They are just like, it's just, those things that are like, they're just, it's like a perfect circle. He's a joke.
It's like, so
I was also interruption number 400.
No, you haven't. You haven't.
Rodri, I was asked the question and replied to the other thing as well, but also Rodri and Ødegaard, who's the bigger miss for their team? James said Ødegaard, and I think Dougie might have said Rodri, but James said Ødegaard, and I was shocked because I think it's clearly Rodri, clear.
It's clear Rodri. Do you remember? So again, this is not a dig at Ødegaard. Ødegaard for me is elite at what he does, and I also think in terms of there are three. Like last season, there are 3 players in Europe in terms of middle third responsibility and their progressive abilities and their numbers, etc. Ødegaard, Rodri, and Xhaka are like top of the charts. And Ødegaard is actually not starting normally deep. He's starting, right side of midfield as a number 8. But Rodri, his impact, and actually quickly on the Ødegaard thing, I said to you before, Spurs and Man City, when we spoke about Ødegaard, I said Ødegaard won't be a massive miss relative to others in those 2 games because the game doesn't necessarily always suit the tools that Ødegaard offers, suit the qualities that Ødegaard offers, especially when it becomes a little bit more transition based and we're going a little bit longer, as we saw in those 2 games. It doesn't suit Ødegaard as much as other players, and that's why I think his impact, is slightly overstated in those games. But when we talk about Southampton and Leicester and all those other games and at home against the big teams, etc., Ødegaard's influence in this team is massive because he is the one who allows us to tick, and he's the one who sets the tempo, like Rodri. But Rodri, you just have to look at the numbers in terms of Manchester City, in terms of their win percentage. Yeah, look at that. And the win percentage of Manchester City with and without Rodri, I think it's like they've lost 7 Premier League games out of 21 that he's missed. And I've always felt where the qualitative difference is just too big. Now, will Pep have solutions? Absolutely, he'll have solutions. And he'll look to mitigate his loss. But can he mitigate to the level at which Arsenal are building and the pace that Arsenal are going at? No. And that's why I'm really confident that we'll win this league. Like, I was confident that we can challenge and we could go head-to-head again. I genuinely think, let's say Arsenal stay injury-free to their key pillars, we will win this league. He is that big of a miss. So Rodri, they can mitigate his loss. Absolutely. I will see you at the parade. I will see you there. But Rodri, they can mitigate his impact with the solutions, with the players that they have internally already. But when you look at the level that Arsenal are hitting and what we envisage Arsenal hitting throughout the entirety of the season, that for me is going to be too big of a pace for them to keep up. That's the way I see it. And I think it's like, I don't know about you, but okay, going back to this, Arsenal fans generally they're not celebrating the Rodri injury in terms of seeing a player injured. They're celebrating the fact that it's a massive moment in the title race for Arsenal. That's what it is. It's a massive moment because he is such a key pillar. He is their build-up. He's integral to their build-up in terms of how they're able to beat high presses. When you talk about differences between Arsenal and Manchester City are a team who they play through pressure. That is their staple, and they will go by that. And Rodri is the catalyst for that. He's the catalyst. Bless you. Bless you.
Thanks, mate. And I just
Any more?
sneezed on my pizza down there. For God's sake.
But Rodri is the catalyst to their build-up. He's the catalyst in terms of them accessing the final third. He is the guy when you're talking about switching and isolating wingers. Rodri is fantastic. But also, what we don't associate Rodri enough outside of Manchester City is the clutch-like moments he gives. Like last season against Chelsea at the Etihad, who's the guy who gets the equaliser? It's Rodri. Who's the guy who gets the third goal at Stamford Bridge? It's Rodri. Who's the guy who scores the all-important goal that wins in the Champions League? It's Rodri. During adversity, when Manchester City are really under pressure to get the result, Rodri, time and time again, has showed to be able to give them that impact just outside the box when players are pushing their backline deeper and there's that space to take a shot. It's such a massive miss.
Yeah, I think you've summed up really well.
I'll love it. I'm waiting.
I'll love it if we beat them. Yeah, look, 16 matches there without Rodri, 10-1, 1 drawn, 5 lost. Yeah, you know what I mean, it's crazy. I think you're bang on. He is everything to them in all phases. He's just he's unbelievable. And like I was watching him, and we did the rewatch earlier on for patrons and YouTube members. I was watching the rewatch, and there's this little section where I'm just watching him, and he's like, he understands exactly where to be for this moment, to not get in the lane, to be in the lane to block Gabriel's pass. Then he blocks the pass. Then the ball comes to him. He's in the perfect place. He puts it back. Then he gets out of the way to create some space for Gundogan to drop into, receives the ball, turns, plays a perfect pass. Like you're just watching like this every action going through. But honestly, so I think someone just put in the chat, he's massively overrated. Look, people have different subjective opinions. No, they don't. Sorry. There's only one opinion allowed. I'm being salty, guys. I feel vulnerable. But no, I think just honestly, just watch Rodri, because I think a lot of the time we base our opinions on players on like clips for other teams, clips, bits of games where we're watching them. But if you watch him for long enough in a game, you just start going, oh right, okay. Like you're just like, oh right. It's just
he regularly like churns out 100+ touches each game. Game after game after game. When a player has 100 touches, they are literally dictating the entire flow of the game. And that is where it all stems through Rodri. And you're going to see it. They're going to miss him so much. And the pace that Arsenal go at, I genuinely can't see them keeping up. Genuinely.
I think I can't remember if we said this on this show or whatever, but I've said it before. I said before, because of our business in the summer, I didn't see us as the favourites, but I was basically holding back on what I probably would have said like 51-49 in City's favour. I think they just edged it, but that was probably, I'd say 60-40 last season. So we
you saw us neck and neck. You saw us neck and neck.
Yeah. So we closed the gap 100%, but I just didn't think we did enough, right? And so I was basically saying, look, until the result of the investigation comes out, I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to say Arsenal are going to win the league. I will sit here on the stream. Arsenal going to win the league. Same. If they've lost Rodri, Arsenal are going to win the league. And the result of the investigation, we're going to win the league, guys. And if you've watched me long enough, you'll know 22-23. I don't think I did say. I'm not sure I called it, but I certainly towards the end I was saying we won't win the league. 23-24, I said we won't win the league this season. That's how confident I am. Honestly, I think it's that big, and like the impact he has. Yeah, it's just we can waffle.
And that's that. It kind of softened the blow in terms of how it unfolded at the end with obviously the late equaliser for John Stones. Like I was not gonna lie. As much as, we're proud, etc., I was gutted. Genuinely, like, so deflated. I thought, wow, we were that close of winning at the Etihad, which would have been the first time since 2015. But then, when I heard that Rodri's injury was severe and, it's looking like an ACL, I'm not celebrating the injury, but I'm celebrating the fact that this is a massive moment for Arsenal.
That's the thing. Like a professional has lost a year of his career at the best time of his life. So that's not fun from a human level. But supporting Arsenal, this is massive. So I'm going to celebrate the fact that this is a huge opportunity for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is amazing.
And what I will say, I don't know what I was doing there.
What I will say,
what I will say there, I tweeted it straight after when it was kind of like confirmed it was significant ligament damage. I don't want any excuses for Manchester City because there was no sign of Arsenal dropping off when they had William Saliba in the 22-23 season. If you look at Arsenal's form, the levels that they were sustaining, you couldn't see a drop-off. And then Tomiyasu goes off injured as well in the same game against Sporting. Nobody said anything. Nobody said anything when Liverpool had injuries to Virgil van Dijk, etc. Well, I don't know, actually. But
not in the Arsenal world. Not in our world.
Not in the Arsenal world. Why would we care? But there was but what I'm saying is the fact that Manchester City, the money that they have spent, the investment in that squad, there should be no excuses of this happening, and what's going to proceed.
This is the game this is the game you play, though, when you have the best players in the world. Like, you that's where you leave yourself. In the same way with Saliba, like, we can now say it. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world. We all knew that as Arsenal fans. Maybe we didn't want to say it, but he's one of the best players in the world, and that's the game you play. And Flipdog, finally, Alex believes. Look, the only comment, like, just going back to earlier on a little bit, the only comments that annoyed me are the ones that are saying I'm being disingenuous. I hope people, I feel like I'm personal enough in my content, and hopefully people just feel it. I will just say exactly what I think, and I get stuff wrong all the time.
Same.
All the time, right? But I hope people say, when I say what I mean, I mean what I say. And yeah, up to now, I just haven't felt like, and it would have got me more YouTube views if I'd said I think Arsenal are going to win the league last year, but I didn't believe it, so I'm just not going to say it. I think it's also a good content strategy because you can't get caught out, but it's also me as a person. I don't like it.
I'm genuinely, I'm not bothered if I'm wrong on something. Genuinely, that's why I've always said it. I will always speak my mind and give the thoughts that I firmly believe in. And on many occasions, I criticize Mikel Arteta, and I've actually criticized him more when we're at our best than when we were in the gutter. And that's what's crazy, because the level this team can go. But just generally on that point, I know we're kind of like going into a different topic here, but when you look at Arsenal under Arteta, pre and during Arteta, in terms against the so-called Big Six at the big away grounds, before Arteta, we hadn't won Stamford Bridge since 2011. Do you remember that game, the Van Persie hat-trick, the 5-3? At Anfield, we hadn't got any points from that ground since 2016. We hadn't got any points from the Etihad since 2016. Spurs, we hadn't won since 2015. Manchester United at Old Trafford, we hadn't won since 2006. Under Arteta, 3 Stamford Bridge wins in the league, 2 Old Trafford wins in the league, 3 wins at Spurs, points against City, points against Liverpool. Different day, we win games at Anfield, we win games at the Etihad. This is the impact. It's crazy.
Do you also not feel that we get points? This is probably anecdotal. I'm sure people can disagree with me. But I always feel like, the kind of the team of the moment, we never seem to get beaten by them. Like, it's Villa at the moment, but there was a period like there was a period where like when Palace were great, whenever there's like a team of the moment, I feel like we don't get beaten by them. I'm sure someone will disagree with me, but
no. Like for example, the last time that's happened, I'd argue would be Brentford when they came. And the first game of the season, that's like, you can tell there's an upset. Like, for example, I don't know about you, Manchester United, when they play games now, and it's like, for example, against Palace, I said immediately, like, with chest, they're not winning this game. You just know they're not winning this game. That used to be Arsenal. That used to be Arsenal, where they go away from home, they go to like a Swansea, they go to like a Middlesbrough, and like, the Arsenal aren't winning that game. They're not winning that game. You can't do that anymore. And that's what's crazy.
Brighton's a good point. Yeah, Brighton's probably the one as well. Brighton have been a bit of a bogey team. But I think you're right. Also, did you see some of the United and Flip Docs saying Villa did it?
But I'm talking about more like those.
My theory is falling apart in front of my eyes.
I'm talking more about like the poorer teams, like on paper, the poorer teams, like Villa and Brighton, they're good teams, aren't they? Like Brentford coming up from the Championship. That's a big shock, isn't it? That you kind of like knowing.
I saw some United fans saying that was their best half of football under Ten Hag.
Crazy, isn't it? Yeah,
I was like, lads, you are starving. You are starving.
£600 million of investment as well, and that's their best half. Crazy. And they have cheek. They have cheek to talk.
These
to
guys must have missed the Invincible Zero. Bro, I was born in '97, so yeah, missed it.
Same. I mean, I didn't watch it. I was just
Can I tell you the story now?
too busy watching CBBS. Actually, but
so someone, a Patreon. Well, I won't say the names, but a Canon patron. Okay, let me go back. Someone followed me earlier, and their name rang a bell, right? And it was a girl, but I couldn't see their profile because you had to request. So I requested to follow, and whatever. I leave it. I come back this afternoon. I get a message from this person saying, so you'll follow me back, but you won't respond to my boyfriend asking for a pint. And I was like, no. Something's gone very wrong here. And I said, hang on, I thought you were someone I knew. Who's your boyfriend? I genuinely haven't seen his message. I go in my message requests, and there's a message from this guy who's a patron, who probably is watching right now, who thinks I'm trying to move to his girlfriend. Who, from his perspective, Alex from TDK has followed his girlfriend and is airing his question about a pint. Oh no! I felt so bad. I wasn't doing that. To be clear, I was not trying to move.
No. If you are watching, hi.
Hello. I just wanted to say that I felt really bad.
Guy. Yeah.
It's Mr. Steal Your Girl. Right. Bloody hell. Let's go. Oh, he's just messaged me saying I didn't think that. Well, I was worried that you did. Anyway, I'm just sticking myself a hole here. Let's move on. Leicester preview. Let's do it. Actually, we've got a message in from Rowan's microphone. I keep calling you Rowan now. I've got into the habit. Rohan said he'd never upgraded me. How wrong was I?
This microphone is actually sick. You know when I unpack
it's pretty good, isn't it? Do you want to show the people?
Wow.
Do you want to show you people? It's a blue snowball. It's very nice. And I can barely hear the oh, I just heard it.
See, I should have left it.
If you're new to the pod, if you can ever hear on Rohan's side just a little it's not there it is.
This is a different laptop as well.
It's not Peter Griffin. It's just someone going
I'm gonna listen to it because I'm not gonna lie, I don't listen back to anything I say because I can't stand listening to my own voice. Like, I think that's kind of like a general thing. You
don't listen back to the pod?
No, never.
Really?
I can't listen back to me talking because then I'll be like, "Oh, you stuttered there. You said the wrong word there. You said." I was like, "Oh, I'd overanalyze it, and I'd rather just ignore it. I'd rather ignore it."
Do you not feel like you're a therapy session? What are you judging? You're judging that you haven't done yourself justice.
No, I don't like the sound of my voice mainly.
Oh, why?
It just sounds like it just sounds like I don't. It just sounds like I don't. I'm thinking to myself, I don't sound like that, but I think that's the general thing though. People don't like listening to themselves back.
But also, in terms of hours done on podcasts, I feel like you haven't got that many. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms, compare it to George and I who've been doing pods for years. Obviously, you did a couple for me early doors TDK, but that was kind of first. You weren't really doing it, were you?
Nah, I'm not.
Yeah,
I think I've done quite a few, but yeah, not loads.
We should do one day is we should react to that video that we made of on the TDK channel about positional play.
I think that was sick though. I thought
it was sick, and it got 150k, which is crazy.
Yeah, for a video, I did have a look. I did have a look at that a couple of weeks ago, and my god, we look different.
Yeah. You had your glasses on. You're like. I'm not going to
I was like a proper grade A dweeb.
I was I didn't have a tooth.
I mean, still am a grade A dweeb.
I'm not going to have a tooth again soon. Nightmare.
That video slapped. That video was really good.
That was great back in the day. Yeah, it's weird hearing your own voice, but I think because I hear it so much, I'm just used to it. But when I first did the podcast, you're hypercritical.
I do have to do it at work. I do have to do it
Yeah.
at work where you do a presentation, and
Yeah.
then you have to write up the minutes, so you listen to it back. You can get a scribe to do it, but usually you expect to do it on your own. So,
Alex, his story is falling apart. He watched that one. Watch what one?
Leicester.
Hebbers, you
Leicester.
sound fine. You just have to embrace it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Leicester.
Leicester.
Time for Leicester.
Leicester.
I am from Leicester, as many probably have gathered. Got the Leicester accent as well.
Literally horrifying. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that joke come from? Because I feel like George was doing it before me, and I just kind of
basically because I hate Leicester. So when Leicester won the league, it made me sick because it honestly
Why?
just made me sick.
Why?
I can't stand the fans. I hate the fans. The fans are awful. Genuinely awful.
Do you know who I saw the other day?
Genuinely awful. They're
On a
so
train.
deluded.
I'm so sorry. On a train the other day. Do you know that guy? People in the chat, you might know him. The guy who is an Ipswich fan, and he carries around mustard, or he used to carry around mustard. People in the chat, you'll know who I mean. He was on TikTok.
I thought you were going to talk about like a Leicester fan.
No. He was on TikTok. He was an Ipswich fan. And he used to carry around mustard and go like, "Well, Norwich, it's time again." Please, people, tell me you know who I mean.
I might recognize his face.
He was quite big on TikTok for a little while. Or was it just me? People are saying no in the chat. Oh, this is so embarrassing.
I thought, what's that got to do with Leicester? The Leicester fans or something.
No. Oh, Rin says, Alex, I was listening to one of your pods on the road trip. My mum says she likes your voice. Yes.
No, genuinely.
Get in.
Hand on heart, you've got like a podcast voice. Genuinely.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
No, you have like you have. Do you know
Nick Muller? That was his name. I saw him on a train, and he was blocking he was one of those guys who blocks the gangway. Those guys
means nothing to me. Nick Muller,
who sit. Right, hang on.
That means absolutely nothing to me.
Hang on, Nick Muller, Ipswich. You do know who I mean. He's got a YouTube. This guy, right? Okay. Hang on. Oh no, one sec. This guy. He carries around mustard. You do know who I mean. This guy.
No, I've never seen that guy. Never.
Chat. You know who I mean.
Never.
See, Harvey Cooper knows him.
Mustard.
Harvey Cooper knows him. Anyway, I saw him on the train, and he's one of those guys who sits like sideways to talk to his friends, and then you're trying to get through.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Those guys?
Yeah, no.
This story is really not landing because no one knows who he is.
No, yeah, I don't think he's very well known though.
I think he's pretty well known.
How many followers has he got on TikTok? Or
I think he's deleted it now because he probably got a lot of abuse. I think he's got 2.9 thousand subscribers on YouTube. It's not bad.
2.9 million.
No, thousand.
Thousand. Oh, I was gonna say for what?
Right. Anyway,
why is he carrying around mustard?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's something to do with Norwich and Ipswich fans and whatever. He's not that niche. I swear I saw him on. I swear I saw him like. Pretty...
I think I'd know like all the main like the leads, like the lead. Like
no, he's an Ipswich fan. No, I feel like I've been cooked here again. I'm too vulnerable for this, guys.
No, like for example, the Leeds. Like Leeds. When you think about Leeds fans, I always think about that guy who was talking about Ben White. When we signed Ben White from Brighton. Like I can't remember any Ipswich fans, especially ones who were carrying around.
Because he was getting he was getting like a lot of attention. He was getting like a lot because it was a bit weird. He was carrying around mustard. That was the point. And Coleman's mustard, Porter says, Coleman's mustard is from Norwich.
Oh, okay. This is starting to make a little bit more sense.
People know him, but they're being silent because they're enjoying the awkward. Exactly. If you're sat there and you know
I genuinely don't know
Save me. Save me in the chat.
Don't know him.
Right. How do we set up against Leicester? Right, moving on. How do we set up against Leicester? So
right then.
if Raya, well, I think Raya's fine. This stinks to me of an Arteta masterclass. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
So Raya, Ben White should be fine.
I don't think you'll risk him
Against Leicester.
I have a feeling he might. I have a feeling he'll go Timber. Got a feeling. I don't think he. I don't think. Yeah, not in terms of tactical. I just think he'll
who's their
go.
left back?
Well,
he's their left side, I guess. You should know this. You're a fan.
James Justin plays on the right, and then.
Hang on, I'll look at their last game. So against Everton, they played with Christensen and Didi and Mavididi on the left hand side. So Christensen's their left back. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, yeah, probably Timber then.
Yeah,
probably Timber. Saliba and Gabriel. By the way, absolutely loved Gabriel's response to Jack Porter and how he when I was talking about Sterling earlier about senior players who are actually getting the team and seem like they have a positive impact on other people. I love that. Calafiori, presumably.
Yeah. Yes,
down a bit of a run now. Down a bit of a run, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Midfield 3.
For me, Partey.
Why are you so loud?
Oh, sorry.
You leaning in. I can't see you.
Partey, Rice, and Ethan for me.
Oh, the yellow is me. I think he'll go for Trossard again.
Oh, yeah. Are we doing what Arteta? What we think Arteta's going to do?
Or... No, what we would do.
No, what we would do. Yeah, I'd yeah.
Actually, I'd also go Trossard. Yeah. Look, would I want in a kind of a fun world where I know I can get a 3-0 win? I'd want Nwaneri from the start, but I don't know. I'm not sure I'd take the risk.
The trash, Alex. Trust me.
You would know, mate. Martinelli.
Yes.
Or does Sterling deserve a start?
Not yet. Don't think physically he's there yet. And I always think Martinelli had a really underrated performance against City. Really underrated in all phases.
I think that looks pretty good, that team. I'd probably go try. I mean, that would probably end up being kind of, a sort of a combination of Havertz and Rice and Trossard in those spaces. Whatever.
What did you think of actually? Yeah, no, actually, what I want to really talk about this. So against City, it was the first time in my memory in which when we've had Thomas Partey and Declan Rice together, Rice has been on the right side and Partey was on the left side, and I found it very interesting.
Yeah.
But sadly, because the referee was a melt, we couldn't talk about these things. We couldn't talk about all the tactical details and everything because he was a melt and he ruined the game.
We did though on the rewatch, which you can go check out on the Canon Patreon and YouTube members.
But did you talk about Rice on the right side of the midfield?
We didn't actually, but we spoke about the man-for-man press and the dual responsibility and stuff.
But I think with Rice, when you ask that question, why did Mikel Arteta go for Rice on the right as opposed to left? And the reason being for me is the fact that, firstly, we wanted Havertz to stay on the last line. We wanted to pin one of their centre-backs, and we wanted Havertz to be that guy there. And with Trossard, who, when you're talking about him being that connector, and I genuinely think we went very traditional, normally as that 4-4-2 kind of setup with Trossard and Havertz. Trossard, in terms of between the lines and as a connector, he favours the left-hand side, and that's where he's at his best, as opposed to the right. And that naturally led Rice to being in the right side of the midfield. But the other key things, I think, is with Timber at right back, with him situationally inverting into midfield, you need someone high there when Havertz is pinning the last line. And Declan Rice, when you're talking about the running power relative to Thomas Partey, Declan Rice is going to offer you more of that, and also being able to support Saka on the outside. If you look at the build-up to the corner, that was one. The match-winning, the goal-defining corner. It was Rice's overlap that pushed Saka inside, and then his cutback was blocked. And then the final reason is when you talk about Arsenal going long and the staple of that, Kai Havertz and Declan Rice, they are our best first and second ball winners in terms of forwards and midfielders. You want them close together, and I think that was the idea. So I think those reasons why we had Rice on the right side of midfield. In terms of the press, it doesn't matter whether Declan Rice is going to be on the left or the right. He is the guy who's going to be on Rodri. When Rodri comes into that pivot, in that single pivot. So
I hear that. I think that's well said. Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, again, it's your whole thing, isn't it? We don't need to necessarily. We can put it on paper, but it can, situationally and nominally and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
It can all move
I
around.
really want to see Ethan. I really want to see.
Yeah, I mean, like, so do I. But I just.
It's not going to.
I don't know. It's just because it's a Premier League game. I just think Arteta, especially considering yeah, you're right. We should be on 15 points, whatever it is. Like, I just don't think he's going to do it.
I also think Trossard's been, excluding the red card, I think he's been quite
great.
underrated alongside Havertz. I think his connections when he's came deep and how he's released Martinelli in particular against Spurs. I think he's quite underrated. It's just a shame.
Not sure I've heard a caveat from Alex in a while.
No, you did. You did say it at the start, I think.
What was my caveat?
It's
just my whole opinion on the media, isn't it? It's a caveat, isn't it?
I think it was about the cooking. I think it was about your
it's just one
cooking.
It's my life. It's just one big caveat.
All right, I've got a question for you. Okay, do you look at every single comment of every video that you do? Will you look at all the comments? Will you still look at the comments for the video that you did with George in terms of?
Honestly, no, because they were pretty mean. But like, generally, what I'll do is I'll look in the first maybe like hour and a half, 2 hours, just to see what like the first couple of comments are. Because sometimes it's like, mate, you've left your password on or something, or like, there's like, sometimes people comment stuff and you're like, oh god, I need to remove that straight away. And then I'll read, occasionally. I might refresh it and read the first couple and then whatever. But then there are certain videos that I want to see what people have said. So, for example, that debate one, because I was interested. I thought more people would agree with me, but that's fine.
But you have to also you're going against the grain, and we said this beforehand. You're going against the grain, isn't it? So it's also it doesn't matter who you are, how much you are liked. If you go against the grain, you get a bit of.
Look, I wasn't expecting everyone to agree with me, but by no stretch of the imagination. Let's be absolutely clear. I thought more people would, but it's fine. And by the way, I haven't particularly changed my opinion. It's just, I just think it's a very hard thing to define. And it's a very hard thing to pull people out, in my view, of what it is, which is there was a comment that perfectly summed it up. It was basically like, I know I only read Arsenal news. The comment was like, I know I only read Arsenal news. Actually, I'm going to read it. Because it perfectly summed up where the extreme, because there's loads of validity on George's side. And by the way, George, and I love George so much. I think he articulated himself really well. The thing is, over the course of a debate, and people say, oh, you're not listening. Over the course of a debate, you're trying to understand someone's position, of course. So you are going to go, but do you mean this? They're going to go, no. And that's natural. And when you trust someone, as I trust George so much, you're going to be able to disagree with someone. That's like, you never disagree with people you don't trust. You ever realize that? You never challenge people you don't trust either, because you're safe to do so.
Yeah, we've had a few disagreements, haven't we? We've had a few.
No, we haven't.
What a fair few.
Yeah, no, we've had a few.
The Saka left back one was one, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. What was one? Oh yeah, this was it. It was like, I think the other thing we have to think about is most fans only follow. Here we go. Oh yeah, this is it. This guy goes, I'm a gooner, and I only watch Arsenal podcasts. On YouTube, I only ever see recommendations for Arsenal news. But the data is showing that Arsenal are getting more bad calls, and the pundits rarely talk about Arsenal for our strengths and instead focus on putting us down. So you've just told me the only thing you consume is Arsenal content, and then you've said that there's a bias against Arsenal. Are they not linked? Are they not linked? Anyway. Look, people will disagree, and that's fine. Let's come to some comments, shall we? To finish off the show. Yes. We've already gone over an hour and a half. Absolutely vintage. When we started the show on
staple. This is the staple.
Yeah. When we started the show on TDK Live, I was like, Rohan, would you come on for an hour? We'll do like an hour, just quick stream Thursday evening. And here we are.
What was that thing we were talking about? Oh, the Saka, Erdegaard, and White.
Oh, yeah. Nabia says, Rohan's debut on the Canna podcast, hat trick of nominally's zero thesis is mentioned. The TDK Academy producing quality talent yet again.
Honestly,
we need
to read that thesis.
Genuinely, put in the comments if you would want to see Rohan break down Thiago Motta's thesis. Because I think people would watch it.
I really enjoyed it.
Might have to put it on a second channel somewhere. Straight to Patreon. It's like straight to DVD. Do you know what I mean? Straight to Blu-ray.
Straight to DVD.
George Wood. Of course, George would.
I'm sure George would want to read it anyway, just in general. Like,
he probably has. Probably has. Let's do a few quick. Where's the dating advice? Got any dating advice, Rohan?
Well, I spoke about before, when we talked about texting and how long you'd leave someone.
Oh, how long you? Yeah, you were playing games.
Okay, right. So
you play games.
I stand by this. No, I don't play games. I do not.
Arsenal
play
FC
games.
says Rohan, talk about dates, please.
God's sake, no. Arsenal FC.
Arsenal FC is a big fan of you, mate.
Moving swiftly on.
Moving on.
Moving swiftly.
Tactical texting. Yeah, what's the tactics of texting?
So no. So I've always said it. Like, if you like dating apps, for example, if you have let's say you matched with someone, you can't give away too much, can you, at the start? Like, for example, if they're not as responsive and they're really slow to message, then you've got to kind of also rein it back a bit.
Yeah,
it's because you don't know them. If you don't know them, that's what I'm saying. But once you know them and you met them, and you know, then you just normal with it. But you can't.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of alpha. I love it when someone whose comment I've never read before. Like, you get used to the names, and then someone drops in with imagine they set up in a low block when Rowan drops in the best game. Yeah, you've got a match. Actually, Rin said it perfectly. Professional girl in the chat. You've got to match the energy.
And also, like I said, a great icebreaker is doing an activity, like the first. This is where we disagreed, didn't we?
We disagreed on this before, because the thing. Okay, but it depends what you mean. But this classic me. Define your terms. That's my entire debate. No, but what I mean is, if it's an activity that means you can still communicate, I'm all for it. But if it's an activity like, let's go-kart racing or whatever, you can't talk.
Like bowling and mini golf. Standards.
Bowling, yeah, if you're good at it. But if you're rubbish, it's just a bit degrading, isn't it?
Because you just say that on any game.
No, but I feel like bowling, mini golf I feel like mini golf, it could be endearing to be bad at it. Okay, here's my theory. There's certain games that it's endearing to be bad at, and there's certain games that it's not endearing to be bad at. And I feel like bowling, if you just keep hitting gutters, it's just a bit.
Right. All right, okay, if you're struggling and you keep hitting gutters, do you get the stands up?
No, that's so demoralizing.
Yeah, it's demoralizing. You have to
That's so demoralizing. You can't have it. I went on a date once with this girl, and she was 2 inches taller than me. And it was, there's nothing wrong with it. Just for me personally, I struggle with it, which is my insecurity. So listen, do what you want in life, right? I was insecure about it, especially as a young person at the time. And I spent the entire day like this.
Did you wear 10 socks, 10 pairs of socks?
Well, I didn't know she was taller than me, but I spent the entire day walking around like this. And we were watching a show, and I was so... and it's just me being insecure, but I was so insecure that I went to the toilet in the interval. It just didn't come out for the whole thing, and also it was just bad chat, and I just felt it was just a terrible day. Terrible.
There's someone in the chat who's 6'5". Oh, where is that?
Who's 6'5"? Flip Doc, you get it, man. I like this guy. Alex is right. First date should be something you can talk during. Bowling, mini golf, dinner, all work depending on the vibe. Yeah. But even
I agree to that, though. I agree.
Some dinners, it depends on the vibe, doesn't it? Yeah.
Look at this guy. 6'5".
Yeah, because you never had to worry about it, mate.
6'5".
Of course you haven't. I was 5'2" till I was 16. It was the bane of my mum fed me Jersey milk. Do you know what Jersey milk is? It's beyond full fat milk. To try and feed me up, to build, to give me a little, because I was the skinniest little thing in the world.
I thought full fat was that's the cap. That's the top. You can't go above that.
You can get Jersey milk, and it's.
I bet that tastes so good though.
And then I grew 4 inches exactly. Yeah, I was tiny. Wait, let me show you. You know what Jersey milk is? This is, if you haven't watched the TDK or TCP live before, this is how it usually ends, with just pure waffle. So if you want any more football analysis, you can go somewhere else. We've got loads of other stuff for you. Jersey milk is this. It's like proper full fat, like creamy milk.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I've seen that.
You probably sell it in the shop.
No, we don't actually. We don't.
You don't sell that.
Don't. No, we got full fat and then semi-skimmed and then the red top.
So yeah, this is what people want. someone said Tory milk.
Tory milk.
It kind of is. It's my Alex's thesis. My parents used to get it from Tesco. Is making out in the theatre okay? I'd say making out in a public space just no.
No, I'm a massive. I hate it so much. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I'm not having it.
Each to their own, right? You do whatever you want to do. You do whatever you want to do, but that I just can't.
Do you remember this? Did you ever have the stage at school where everyone was taking like girls from the? We had like a school at the top, which was the boys' school. We had mixed. We had a single sex.
Were you mixed?
No, single sex.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, look at me. But
really?
yeah, single sex at the top of the hill. The other one at the bottom, and then we used to like meet on the field. So you used to have to go over. I'd go over, and I was looking at Ebony Haskins, and she was looking gorgeous. And I'd have to go over, and I'd go, "Hey," and then you ask them out, and then it was always the cinema. The cinema was always the thing. You go, "Do you want to go to the cinema on the weekend?" And then
it was.
You pick the cinema, and then it was all about what was going on in the cinema. It was. Did you kiss? What was the? That was the vibe. Nothing beyond that. Nothing beyond that. Mine's out the gut, people. Alejandro Rohan is recommending to do 4-4-2 mid block in life.
Always. You can't go too deep inside your box. You can't press too high because then you're being too keen.
Get it just right. Get it just right.
But as you say, like a vegan sausage roll from Greg's. I'm gonna say vegan to keep it.
Keep it woke.
Keep everyone woke.
Flipdoc says that's how you know. Go on.
No, I was saying, I think you can't have it too warm because then your tongue is just going to burn. Can't have it too cold.
Tongue?
Then it's just like tongue. Yeah, tongue.
That is not how you say tongue.
Tongue. Yeah, your tongue.
Your tongue.
What? I don't know if this is a normal.
I've never heard you say that in my life. Tongue.
Well, how many times have I said tongue?
You say tongue.
I don't go tongue.
Wait, say lips, mouth, teeth, tongue.
Lips, mouth, teeth, tongue.
Tongue.
What do you say then?
Is that how you say? Is that how you say it in the Midlands?
Well, that's how I say it.
It's it's like the people on like Geordie people say book.
Book.
Yeah, but Geordie people say book. They go.
Do you say bath or bath? You say bath, don't you?
I say bath. Yeah, I say bath.
Yeah. It's bath. It is bath.
Yeah, it's bath, but fine. So we've got some super chats. Alejandro, thank you so much. Rohan has recommended to 442 move in real life. Ultra Pro Gamer, who's still got you as their profile picture. Yeah. How can Thiago Oh, is that just me or is Rohan?
What?
Your audio's gone all weird.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's happened?
Wait, hang on. Speak now.
Hello.
Oh yeah, join and come back. That could be me though. Okay. In the chat. Yeah, you cooked. You're done. Leave and come back. This is vintage. I feel like this is kind of perfect for the first episode on Cannon Pod because this is vintage TDK Live. It's the perfect combination. Guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the Cannon Podcast. We've got loads of good stuff coming up for you, instant reactions and so on and so forth. You're back.
What about now?
Yeah, you're back. You were going a little bit weird. You were slightly going a little bit, then you're fine now.
Oh, was it? Oh.
Arsenal FC says, we love you, Alex. We love you, Rohan. Thanks, Arsenal FC.
She loves you.
How do you know it's she?
Oh. I know.
So who is it, mate? Who is it?
Yes, it's a friend, isn't it?
It's a friend. Oh.
Yeah.
A nice friend. Okay. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah,
what were
yeah.
we talking about? What did my thing go off?
No, we just want to talk about your friend, mate.
Should I
How
dip
can
out?
Thiago Motta's system help my dating life?
Okay, so what he talks about in the
Are
thesis,
you
he
actually going
talks
to answer
about
this?
right. Okay, so he talks about the ball being an instrument, and how you. No, actually, no, I can't.
No, go on. You're cooking. No, you're cooking.
No, because I'm thinking.
No, you're
No,
cooking.
it's about
as long as you
okay,
don't compare
okay.
women to being instruments or something
No. I'm
like that.
saying like
Don't go down that.
No, I'm saying you've got to take. He says you've got to, the ball is the staple, and you've got to take care of it. Every single aspect of it, you have to take care of it. So then that is.
So you're
how you
saying women are
approach.
balls? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So you have to take care of.
Yeah.
I thought I was cooking there, but then I realized, oh,
No,
maybe.
you were cooking for a little moment.
But then
There
I
was a little-
thought, okay, it sounds fine to me. It's fine, but then I don't know how it's. Yeah, I don't know.
Tezzy, yeah, we explained it at the top. But basically, TDK Live is going onto the Canon podcast. TDK Patreon is still there if you want to support the main channel videos and support me, which would be nice. But you can basically, if you want more content and ad-free stuff, and where me, Rohan, and George and Babs and so on are going to be, that'll be on the Canon pod.
More to come. More to come.
Much more to come. So why don't you want to do instant reactions?
Okay, should we talk?
Let's have this out. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I've actually done one with you before. Do you remember? I've done one once with you. So Newcastle away from home, and we won 2-0. I did an instant reaction with you.
Why didn't you like it?
No, it was fine. It was fine, but my mind doesn't like. It took so much for me to go on it anyway.
Why?
But
I didn't get it.
I like to have my own space after games. Personally.
Interesting.
But also I've got other
Space to do what?
I just like to just be on my own, or if I'm at the game, I'd rather not go on stream immediately after, because I feel like I will say stuff that I don't truly believe. I'd rather watch the game back with the lens of being a little bit more neutral, because whether you believe it or not, I watch games purely as a fan. Genuinely, you pick stuff up.
Yeah.
Because
so did I last time.
Yeah. I watch it as a fan, and like just you pick stuff up naturally because I watched loads of football in my life, but I don't care about the details. Genuinely, like I do not care. And then the second one,
you're worried that you won't be particularly insightful on the.
I don't think I'll be able to give the maximum of myself.
If you're worried about insights, honestly, mate, don't worry.
But it's not also that; it's also other things that I can't control as well.
Okay, just emotions.
Because I know a lot of people do. I think people have said like
this for, baby.
Yeah.
Instant reactions are for. TDK Discord has transitioned to the Canon Discord. There is something on the TDK. Sorry, I know it's a little bit confusing. On the TDK Patreon, I posted a message a couple of days ago, which you can read, which explains it all. I know it's been a bit of a thing. That's the sexiest thing Rohan has ever said. Right, we've waffled for long enough.
But the thing is that right?
We may as well get to 2 hours. We may as well get to 2 hours.
Yeah. I said we'll go to 2 hours. Then that's it. That's when my attention.
Yeah, you turn off. You literally just don't.
But all right, like for example, when we lost to Manchester City 4-1 with the Rob Holding, there is not a chance I'm ever going to do like an instant reaction, for example.
Why not?
Because
But
I
you
know,
let the emotions out.
I know I'll say stuff that would get me cancelled. Get this cancelled. I'd lose my head.
But you wouldn't though. You're not like.
I'd get quite like I reckon if you challenged me and something like if you said like after 4, if you said something like Rob Holding wasn't that bad, I'd like lose it. I genuinely would lose it. I'd genuinely lose it.
But this is the thing, as Andre says, this is what we want. We want to see you.
I
You can't just be this analytical. You've got to show different sides to you. I feel like I'm training you.
Training. Am I going through training here?
It's the TDK Academy. No, but like I feel like people want,
No, I hear it.
They want to see the fan and they want to see the analyst. If there's some people, okay, here we go. Now we're cooking.
Go on.
There's some people who can only show you their analyst, and I think that's boring, or their professional side. I think that's boring. I don't think people want to see that. But there's also some people who can only show you their fan.
Yeah.
And that's like, I also think that's, I don't know. But
I feel like we do that here. I feel like we do that here.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you do both brilliantly, which is why I love you here. But it's a shame that you feel you can't show as the fan in that format. You know what I mean? That you could only show the analyst, and you haven't got time to do that.
I promise you, I will do some. The volume, I don't know. But also, I'm at games as well at home. Home games is difficult. I do tend to try and go to quite a few.
Chat.
As well. Is
Cooking.
that too? Yeah,
Cooking. Should we do one more? Let's do a couple more questions. Let's come to as many questions as we can in the last 5 minutes. What time is it? Yeah, cool. Let's do as many as we can in the last couple of minutes.
I reckon it's my chair that makes the creaking noise. In terms of this laptop. Can you hear that?
It's the chair.
No, no. The other laptop was definitely overheating. You could hear the fan. You could hear the fan going.
No, it's when you go that way.
No, it's like I can't get the noise again.
But it was. You just did it.
Yeah, it was. It is.
It's the chair. It's not your laptop.
The chair is actually
it's
sick.
the exact same
is...
sound as your old mic. No, as your old computer.
No, that other laptop was like overheating.
That's blown my mind. New law just dropped.
New law just dropped.
This is an unbelievable revelation for the Canon Pod entrance.
I promise I will be doing Canon more lives as well.
Let's do this for the last 5 minutes. Let's do Canon Pod related questions because we're moving over to the Canon Pod. Do Canon Pod anything you want to ask about that? Yeah, because I think that's probably a good time.
Anything that people want to see. Anything they want to see.
Will there be a new logo for TCP Live? Alex, I'm gonna voice note you later. Alex has our thumbnails for TDK. I'll voice note you later.
What's the chair?
I'm sorry. How is this transition to Canon Pod? How's it going? Literally, just the show is just moving over there. It's not going to change. It's still going to be unhinged and silly. But we'll just do loads of different stuff on the Canon Pod, like more serious stuff, more reactionary stuff, more stuff like this, more lives, more Q&A. Like we're just going to put everything together. So me, Babs, Rohan, George, everyone comes together, and we're going to get other people on as well. We want it to be like the space for Arsenal online for like people not people at our age only, but led by people our age, which we'd love to do. Does TDK Live channel die now? I don't know what to do with it actually, to be honest.
Oh, do you hear that?
So
that was a
picture, and there's a new show. What's going to be? So on the Canon, there's going to be. We're setting up at the minute, but we're trying to get like for example, we're getting a set piece specialist on who's going to talk about Arsenal set pieces. I met someone today who knows a sports scientist at a Premier League club. I'm going to try and get them on. It's stuff like that, and we want to get like exclusives with those sorts of people. Like we want to kind of push the level in that way. Yes. So what's happening with the different knock? So the main channel of the different knock, my main channel, that's nothing's changing. There'll still be video essays and stuff on there. But the different knock live, I don't quite know what to do with yet, but we'll work it out. It's just so we put it all together. So me and Rohan aren't splintered over there, and it just makes it all sense.
You could just leave it there, couldn't you? Just leave it there.
Yeah, I can leave it as a testament to time. There's enough waffle on there. I've basically revealed everything about myself on there, so it's fine. Basically a rebrand. It's not a rebrand. It's more literally just moving TDK Live to the Canon, just so it's not splintered up and so it's all together. Watching George wither before my eyes is one of my favorite things. What? Wither?
What does wither mean?
The graphics for TDK videos are better than the Canon. Well, we're going to try and do production upgrades. So production upgrades on like the videos, so like the scouted videos, the rewatch videos and stuff. We're going to try and put some production upgrades on there. We're just getting an editor on. Hopefully you'll see the production levels raise up, because like at the moment I'm recording on my webcam, and eventually we'd love like George and I to have proper cameras, like make it like a properly good remote podcast, like actually get like proper contributors on this guy. Do you know what I mean? That was a joke. It was a please laugh, otherwise I look like a dick. Thank you.
Oh God, that was bad.
That's even worse. Need a separate one for the waffle without the football. Maybe you and me could go just rename it waffle and just go live and just chat about dating advice or something.
Yeah.
You absolutely hate that idea. Nick Campbell, TDK Live would be good for you talking to other fan creators. Ultimately I just have a limit to my week. Do you know what I mean? Is there going to be Twitter Space or something similar on Discord? Don't know yet. Although, Forder, if you wanted to host something for us, Alex Forder, shout out. He's a mod in our Discord now. He's a stud in the Cannon community.
Discord. I've never done Discord before.
Yeah,
and like
if you want to get on the Discord, there you can sign up as a Patreon or a YouTube member. The Discord's popping off, man. There's like nearly 200 people in there now, and someone reorganized it for us and has like done a proper job for us, which is great.
Can you hear that?
Is that the chair?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's just making the noise, isn't it? Actually, it sounded quite suspect that.
Maybe. Dream would be to get Nicola over. Yeah, like the dream of the pod is me, like whoever, me and George and you and Babs or whoever it is, we all sit round with Mikel. That will be the dream, and have a 2-hour chat. But the thing is, they've got to feel that it's worth their while to do that and give him that much give us that much access.
I think we can do it.
But mate, dream big. Why not in 5 years? Say if he's established himself, we've won some stuff, we've grown up as a group and stuff, and you know, why not? Like I don't see that as an issue.
Do it.
Yeah, absolutely. People are saying get some WD-40 on your chair.
I mean, they are right.
No.
Oh God. But the chair doesn't look like that. Look, the chair is actually a really good chair as well. Look, I can go so low.
Branastani, thank you so much for becoming a member. Really appreciate it. Alex, you need to get Mark Halsey, ex-referee, on his interesting text on PGML. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Me and George have basically, Babs is like stepping back. He's still going to be on the pod, but in terms of the running of the pod, he's sort of stepping back from that. So me and George are kind of looking for ways to change stuff. So if there's any suggestions you guys have, anything you want to see, just let us know. We want it to be as interactive as possible. We're not trying to create that separation that some pods do. It's just a bit weird. So yeah. Hopefully that answers a number of questions. I know there's going to be some things happening, but you'll just see it. Like it will just come out. We've hit 2 hours,
and that is when my attention span.
You are done. This Rohan just turns like he's like this.
Done. I'm fully done. 2 hours is a good effort, though, isn't it? 2 hours.
It's a good stream. It's a good stream.
We always have good streams, if we do say so. If I do say so by myself, I enjoy it personally.
It's good fun. It's good fun. And yeah, as I said at the top of the stream, like this type of content on the Cannon isn't, George and I are going to have very, very serious conversations. Hopefully we'll get you on the pods and it'll be more serious. Do you know what I mean? But we want a space where it's just fun. Do you know what I mean? Like it's meant to be fun. All right, we'll finish there. Thanks everyone. Appreciate it. Make sure you sub to the Cannon. So yeah, from now, TDK Live is going to be inactive. We'll probably work something out to do with that. But yeah, all this stuff will be on the Cannon. So make sure you subscribe there. We'll be here back every Thursday at 7 p.m. Yeah. Thanks all for being here. Please go leave some nice comments on the debate. No, just say like my hair looks nice or something. You don't have to agree with me.
There was one who agreed. There was one. I saw one.
Yeah, one. Go leave just go say like, I don't know. Alex, you're really trying.
there was a lot of like comments about really good debate. And very
no. Some people genuinely really enjoyed it as a debate. Most people didn't. Right. We'll move on. We're back with an instant reaction to Leicester on Saturday. We'll be back next week for a pod. We've done a rewatch for Cannon and Patreon members. Yeah, I know. Obviously, I'd say this because I financially benefit, but it's a good time to become a patron or a YouTube member. If you want to do it, like now's a good time because there's a lot of stuff coming. Communities coming together, like Discord's popping off. We've got Rohan on board. It's good times, baby. It's good times.
Yes.
Final one. Alex looks like Prime Mustafi and Rohan looks like Gideon Zalalem.
I
don't see that for you.
Don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't feel about that.
Really don't know how I feel about that. For either of us, really.
Yeah, Mustafi.
Sure. I mean, you have got a World Cup winner.
Yeah, Tiolu. Shout out.
Nice.
Thanks, everyone. Love you all. We'll see you all next Thursday. And bye for now. We'll finish with the Cannon.